Watch a couple of girls jump at this and that, getting familiar with blue and the charmed ones too. Charm Chats.
Welcome to Charm Chats with Kendra
and Kat. We're at episode 115.
Yeah!
So excited.
Speaking of 15s, my birthday is coming up.
It is. Well,
we're recording this.
Yeah. By the time this comes out, your birthday will be long past.
Yes, several weeks.
Yeah. But, it happens.
Yeah. Birthdays happen.
My birthday just happened to work out that when that episode was going to air, that my birthday was that week.
Oh, yeah. Well, also, that was when we were just starting.
Exactly. So, we didn't have any, backlog.
This is true.
We didn't have any buffer. That's the word. We didn't have any buffer.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Episode 115 is There a Woogy in the House? And that aired originally on February 24th, 1999. And the title is based on the expression, Is there a doctor in the house? Which is usually used during a medical emergency in a crowded room.
Yes. And it doesn't really work when it's someone with a PhD.
No.
There's an entire episode of Cabin Pressure where someone has a heart attack.
I just started listening to that. I finally found a spot.
Mm-hmm.
I just started listening to that.
That episode?
Yeah, I'm nearly, I think I've got one more episode in the first season.
Yeah. I forget what that episode was titled.
Oh, don't ask me.
But no, my favorites are Limerick.
Okay, I haven't gotten that
and Dues.
Okay.
The one where they're stuck in the middle, at the top of the Sahara.
I haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, that's odd.
I'm in literally in the first season. That's it.
Okay. Oh, then it must have been like the second or third episode.
Yeah.
Because the first episode is with the cat. You're listening to them in alphabetical order, right?
I'm listening to them in whatever order it was giving.
They're supposed to be in alphabetical order. That's how they were released.
Hold on, I can tell you how I'm listening to them.
Well, I'm telling you how you should be listening to them.
I just have to find the thingy. Nope. Where's the thingy? Nope, that's British Bake Off.
Where's his thingy?
Oh, there it is. Yes, they are in alphabetical order. So far, I have listened to Abu Dhabi, Boston, Cremona, Dues, and Edinburgh.
Yes. Okay, so Edinburgh is Burling Day, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So you did listen to the one where the guy has a heart attack, and they're like, I know, there's a doctor in here.
And the doctor was a
mechanical engineer.
Yeah, I think the only one...
Or structural engineer or something.
Yeah, the only one I still have to listen to is Fitton. I haven't listened to that one yet.
I really love Dues. It's a doozy. But yes. Also, the French accents in it are great.
Yep.
And the ending with Arthur's photo. But yes, Limerick is by far my favorite. If that one comes up on shuffle, when I have my entire, music on shuffle, I listen to it. Nice. Because I love it so much. Because the limericks in it are great.
Nice. Haven't gotten that far. I will get there eventually.
You will enjoy the limericks.
Okay. Good to know. But back to this show.
Yes, back to this show.
Of which we have just started. So we start with an exterior shot of the manor, and then get a shot that looks like it's from just inside the front door.
Yeah.
And there's a small earthquake which shakes the chandelier, shatters the vase that was on the hall table, and tilts a picture on the wall of an older lady wearing a red shirt. We don't know who she is yet.
No, we don't.
The earthquake stops, and the girls come down the stairs. Phoebe is wearing a pink turtleneck short-sleeve shirt with dark cuffed jeans and a black belt. She loves those jeans. It's not that
short-sleeved. It's like a 3/4.
Yeah, well...
It was at her forearms. It wasn't at her elbows. I made a mental note because I was thinking of the sleeveless turtlenecks. I'm like, well, at least this one has sleeves, even if they're not full. But trust me, it was a 3/4 length. For someone who doesn't usually remember the outfits, I remembered an outfit.
Ends at her elbows.
It will go past her elbows, though. They're not that short.
Okay, but it ends at her elbows.
That's not short-sleeved.
Fine. Phoebe is wearing a pink turtleneck, sleeves to her elbows shirt. With dark cuffed jeans and a black belt. Prue is in a brown tank top with a thin brown knit sweater over top, so it's a lovely little sweater set, and a black pinstriped skirt.
Her sweater is like a weird shade of brown.
Yeah.
It's almost, well, it's not red, but it's almost gray.
Yeah, I don't know. But you watched on DVD this time.
Yes, I did.
So excited about it.
I know. It's so nice to hear the actual theme song.
Yes.
And the actual after credits music.
Yes, we'll get there when we get there, but yeah. Piper has got on a blue long sleeve top with black and white lines at the bust on both the front and the back.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was
Was it kind of a turtleneck?
No, it's a V-neck.
Okay.
It's a V-neck.
Oh, I'm confusing it with the one in Wendigo.
Yeah. But there's black and white stripes at the bust, and then there's like another like black and white stripe above the bust, and then the shoulders, not on the sleeve bits, but just on the shirt bit, is black, or like a dark gray.
Okay.
It's very interesting, to say the least. And she's wearing jeans.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as they're coming down the stairs, Phoebe says that it was an aftershock, and Prue's happy that they're getting smaller, and Piper says that the main earthquake was a 4.5, which...
On the Richter scale.
Yeah. Is not good.
No.
That is a large earthquake.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, we see Prue in the background pick up the overturned vase from the hall table and start putting flowers back into it.
The vase that shattered.
Just a moment ago. Now, but I did take some screenshots, and as much as I want to call out a continuity error, the rug that they show the vase falling onto and shattering isn't the same rug that's underneath the hall table.
So it probably shattered unexpectedly, and they had to... I don't know.
No, see, I don't think so. I think it was an insert shot
Oh.
that they added in to make just, ooh, and look, things have fallen. But the problem is that she's totally putting back those flowers into the vase on that table.
The vase that now has no water.
Yeah, but they don't mention anything about shattered glass. They don't have any other vase that's that shape or size anywhere else in the house that they mention. I don't even remember knowing, like, where that particular rug is in the house. So, I still say it's a continuity error.
Oh, it is.
But it's not necessarily...
It's a continuity error created by an insert shot.
Yeah. And then Phoebe straightens the picture of the woman in the red shirt, and we are informed this is Graham's.
And I love... Okay, so we get that shot a lot in this episode that is Phoebe looking at this picture from the perspective of almost the picture.
Mm-hmm.
It's either in the picture or just above and to the left of the picture.
Mm-hmm.
Because you see her, like, walk past this spot several times. It's almost like Graham's is watching them.
Uh-huh.
And it's really cool. And I love that. That was a great camera work idea that they came up with.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. But my favorite is that they act like this picture has been there the entire time.
When we know it hasn't.
And it has not. I have looked at the other episodes. I haven't taken a picture. I might. By the time this goes up, you'll know whether or not I've taken a picture of what used to be there.
I just thought of a good episode for that wall, Wicca Envy, when they're hiding the tiara in the boudoir. No, not the boudoir. Word for cabinet.
In the Narnia cabinet. Got it.
Yes, in the Narnia cabinet. Wardrobe. There we go.
Yes. When Rex is sitting on the couch.
Yes.
Yeah.
That should be a good one.
Yeah, I will look at that.
Because when you went trolling for clues, or cluing for looks, you ended up in From Fear to Eternity.
Well, I first looked in the Wendigo one, because I know that they walked past it a couple of times. And then I just went to Fear to Eternity, because that was the last
and
one.
you could only get the one that was there before Grams' photo, which is some old lady at, like, the turn of the century.
Yeah, it's like... Well, we don't know how old the person is in that picture. She could just be, like, in her like 20s or 30s, like, But it was like a sepia tone brown picture.
It looked black and white from where I was standing, but it could easily be sepia toned.
So now that we know that the picture is Graham's, and that the old picture was some sort of sepia tone weirdness,
that means that we now have someone cast in the role of Penny Halliwell.
Yes, a.k.a. Graham's. And this actress... Since we now have one, I will give you a little information about her.
Mm-hmm.
Her name is Jennifer Rhodes.
Mm-hmm.
She was born in a town called Rosiclare, Illinois.
Where is that?
I have never heard of it. And
did you look up where that is?
I did.
Okay.
And on IMDb, she is the only person with that town as her birthplace, which I think is very interesting.
Very.
Apparently, it is in southern Illinois, in Hardin County, along the Ohio River, where Illinois and Kentucky meet, southwest of Elizabethtown.
Okay. So it's in Little Italy.
Yeah, I have no idea. It was, at one time, the fluorite capital of the United States, and in 1835, Andrew Jackson owned a fluorspar mine there.
A what mine?
Fluorspar.
Fluorspar.
Fluorspar. Fluorite, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. The only other notable people to come from that town, from the town of Rosiclare, is a gang called the Sturdivant Gang.
Spell that?
Sturdivant.
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 Okay.
Yeah. They were a multi-generational family gang of counterfeiters from the 1800s.
Lovely.
Yeah. I didn't really look them up
Mm-hmm.
very much because that would, yeah.
That would waste the rest of your afternoon.
Yeah. And then I would have gone down a whole wiki rabbit hole. It would have been bad, which I did do a little bit later, wiki rabbit hole. We'll get there when we get there. But their wiki page was just kind of boring. So let's get back to Jennifer Rhodes.
Mm-hmm.
She started acting in 1971 and
cool.
has been in a bunch of stuff. She's
I know
had bit parts in
a
all
couple
sorts
of
of different
weeks
shows.
ago, I finally got around to watching Heathers for the first time.
Yes.
And I was delighted to find out she was in there.
Indeed.
As Veronica's mother.
Yep.
And I just thought it was really funny that both Jennifer and Shannon were in this together years before they were on Charmed.
Yep. Absolutely. And so
great.
who knows if that somehow was like, hey, I worked with this actress. She'd be great. Like, who knows?
No idea.
Not a clue. But yeah, she's had bit parts in all sorts of shows, and she's still acting.
Yep.
She's awesome. The most interesting bit is how little is actually on her Wikipedia page.
That is weird.
Yeah, like, at least personal-wise. Apparently, Rhodes is actually her married name, but we have no idea when she got married, what her maiden name is, and she's divorced, but we don't know when that happened either.
Wow.
Yeah. So, just a little bit on Grams for you there. Back to the show. Phoebe says that earthquakes give her the jeebies.
And Prue responds, as she's putting flowers back in the vase, would that be the Phoebe jeebies?
Yes.
And then gives this shit-eating grin because she is so goddamn proud of that joke.
Yes, the comedy stylings of Prue Halliwell.
And she doesn't stop until they start going into the kitchen either.
But yeah, the Phoebe jeebies is in reference to the phrase of the scared feeling, the heebie-jeebies.
Hence, heebie-jeebie hobby lobby,
Yes.
where the fear demon gets his rope and duct tape.
Exactly. And then Phoebe says the comedy stylings of Prue Halliwell. And I love my notes. I say, we see Prue finishing putting the flowers into the vase. That's existence may or may not be a continuity error.
It is. We
It
have
is.
decided. It is.
Yeah, it is.
And also, they're not putting them in very effectually, and there's no water in the vase. These flowers are clearly a little dry already.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah.
Also, finally... Okay, so, like, back to that insert shot.
Yes.
If that was an aftershock, how had the flower vase not fallen over during the 4.5 Richter scale earthquake?
Yeah, well, the only thing I can think of, and this is where part of me is questioning things, is that it fell over during the actual earthquake. Didn't break, but fell over during the earthquake, and then during the aftershock, it broke. But that's not what they did.
No, that's
They
not
said
what
it was an aftershock, not the earthquake. So, yeah.
I think they really could have just, done what they did once they went into the kitchen, which is show how everything is in disarray. Like, don't even... Yes, thank you, Blue. Don't even show anything but, like, a mild vibration as they're coming down the stairs. Don't show everything shattering. Don't show everything moving. Just be like, shit, that was a big earthquake. Are the aftershocks done now?
Yeah, exactly.
And you're done.
Exactly. But,
Doesn't require any more cleanup.
Yeah, I don't know. So, as Prue is putting the flowers back in the continuity, maybe, error...
The continuity
vase
error vase.
thing, yeah. Piper says that Prue is the only Halliwell that actually likes earthquakes, and Prue says that she doesn't like them, but she doesn't go running through the house naked, screaming, run for your life, either. And she actually says naked,
She definitely
yet again.
does.
So, it is now absolutely confirmed that that is a Shannon thing, to say the word naked,
Yeah.
and therefore it is a Prue thing.
And Phoebe, as they're walking into the kitchen, says, "That's such an exaggeration.
Are
I
those
was wearing
wearing
slippers."
Yeah.
His only slippers is still naked, sweetie.
Is naked.
Naked.
So, as they walk into the kitchen, we see that Phoebe has got her chunky heels on, and Prue is in some black strappy heel things.
Yeah.
just thought I'd add that in. Prue apparently smells something, and Piper, in a line that seems to be ADR, thinks that the smell is coming from the basement.
Which is why she's apparently already called the gas company?
Yeah.
Which is weird, because didn't they just come back downstairs?
Well,
Why would you be upstairs anyway during an earthquake?
Well, no, it was an aftershock.
Well, yeah, but
So
did they go upstairs after the main earthquake?
Probably.
That's weird.
They probably did. Maybe like they went up to start cleaning anything in the attic that fell over or whatever. Maybe the pipe that is no longer in the attic that was there during Wendigo. Just saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Prue asks if it's a gas leak. Piper says that she doesn't know, but she called someone to come and check it out, and that they should be there and the doorbell rings. And she finishes, now! Which was very funny.
Mm-hmm. And it's great to look around the kitchen and see, like, stuff is clearly in disarray. Like, all the spices have fallen off of the spice shelves.
Yeah, all of the cabinets are open. Yeah.
What else? Like, I don't know, more shit's probably fallen over.
Yeah, there was all sorts of everything everywhere.
Yeah.
So, Piper says she'll get at the door. She heads out of the kitchen, and Prue says that they're never gonna pull this off, but we don't know what they're trying to pull off at this point. However, I do see a book on the counter that was titled Catering Like a Pro, so maybe that has something to do with it. Phoebe says that everything's gonna be fine, and Prue agrees, but thinks that's only true until the house blows up.
She's got such a positive outlook.
Yes.
Also, Prue is very, very obviously not wearing a bra.
Oh.
There are some extremely visible nips in this outfit.
Yeah.
Like, I saw one and I'm like, let's see if I can see the other. 30 seconds later, I saw the other.
Yeah.
And that was because the light shifted.
Yep.
So, yeah.
She doesn't wear a bra for this entire episode.
Yep.
Which we'll get into that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But as she turns to Phoebe, we see that Prue is wearing yet another cross necklace. It looks like a different one than she was wearing in the last episode, though, because this cross looks a little bit bigger. I don't remember seeing the one
in the last episode, but I noticed the necklace this episode.
The last episode
No, we discussed it last week.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah, it was the one with the cross that looked like a plus sign. Mm-hmm. This one looks like a cross, not a plus sign. So
yeah,
it looks
and
like
it's got
slightly...
diamonds inside it or something.
Yeah, it's slightly different.
We're probably cubic zirconia.
Yes. CZ, baby. Anyway, we learn that a Buckland's VIP specifically requested for a dinner party to be held at this house. And when Claire prodded Prue, she agreed.
But the point is that she did. Mm-hmm. And so everything needs to go off without a hitch.
Yeah. Phoebe says that nothing has changed.
Which means they need to get rid of the swan out front. You're welcome.
Nice. Took me a second. I got it. Anyway, Phoebe says that nothing has changed. Piper's going to cook a feast. Phoebe will serve with grace, and Claire will kiss Prue's ass. And as we hear Piper clear her throat as she enters the room with the gas man, Phoebe ends with
Trinomical talents. Which is not a sentence that makes any sense.
Well, astronomical.
Kiss your astronomical talents?
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Like, why are they censoring themselves around the gas man? The gas man who is clearly older than them.
Anyway, the gas man, wearing shades of khaki and a tool belt.
Wearing not just shades of khaki. This is a clearly stock jumpsuit gotten from some wholesale warehouse thingy.
Yep.
And as he's walking down the stairs in a few seconds, we see that there is the biggest iron-on patch ever created. Legitimately, it is the width of his shoulders.
Yep, it's huge.
It's
I think
insane.
It just says Bay Area.
Bay Area something or other.
Yeah. But he towers in height over Piper.
Well, okay, first of all, he's probably just slightly above average. They're all short as fuck.
Oh, yeah. But, like, it was...
Which we keep reiterating.
Crazy. He towers over her.
Yeah, he's at least a foot.
Yeah. I took a picture. Mm-hmm. Website.
Yes, but he's a very congenial, balding man who just walks in and he's like, oh, so that's the smell. Doesn't really smell like gas. And they're like, yeah, we know. Prue, of course, because she's freaking out, freaks out to him. And she's like, yes, but if we can't turn on the stove, there'll be no dinner.
Yeah. No stove, no dinner. Yeah. But Piper tells her to relax and that if needed, they can have it cooked at the restaurant and brought to the manor.
And she's doing like the hand motion she does when she freezes stuff.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But because she is calm and not trying, nothing freezes.
Exactly.
Nothing meaning the gas man.
Correct.
Or meaning not the gas man. Because if nothing meant the gas man, that meant the gas man would have frozen.
Yeah. Sure.
Because nothing freezes.
Sure.
Okay. Anyway,
Gasman says he'll check it out. And Piper thanks him and says the basement is that-a-way and
just
points.
kind of, like, points vaguely behind her.
Yeah. To a door that we've never seen before. At least I don't think we have.
No, I think John Cho stuck his head through that door.
No, he wouldn't have been coming through the
beadboard
basement.
Door? Well, who knows where the fuck he would have been going. But there was a beadboard door he stuck his head through, wasn't there?
Yeah, but that wasn't the basement door.
It was a beadboard door.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Also, fun fact, this door has a corner sliced out of it to accommodate some structural element of the house, which that's not where the stairs are.
No.
The stairs are not going that way.
No, but...
So it's just kind of funny.
Yeah.
But it looks cool.
Yeah, who knows. But, so he walks toward the door that she's pointing at, and just outside the door, there is a light switch, and a picture of 3 smiling kids, and we're supposed to believe that this picture has been there the whole time, just like the picture of Grams that we've never seen before.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, he flips the light switch on the wall. Now, he must be shit at his job, because if there was a gas leak, that could have caused a spark and caused the whole house to blow up.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, that doesn't happen.
Yeah. Well, also,
Just saying.
he knows it's not gas.
That's not the point. Not the point at all.
This is true.
Yeah.
And the light very ineffectually turns on.
Yeah.
Like, you see a light pop on the landing, but the entire episode, when we are shown the basement door, it's basically pitch black.
Yeah.
Because mystery. However, when you're shown the camera angle of looking from the basement door into the basement, it's actually not that dark down there.
No.
Even when the light is supposedly off, it's not that dark.
Yeah.
You can see pretty much the entire basement floor, which, okay, tiny basement for such a large house.
Well,
so it's clearly like
yeah.
a storage cellar.
Yeah.
Like, when it was rebuilt or whatever.
Yeah, and you can't even say that's why the washer dryer is, because it isn't.
No, it's not.
No. That's on off the kitchen on the other side.
Yep.
So, yeah, I don't know. But Piper tells Phoebe to look, that he's going in the basement alone, which gets a lovely "don't even start" from her. And Prue asks, what if the boogeyman gets him? And Piper says that Phoebe pronounced it, Woogy Man.
I love the way Holly does this.
Yeah, that might have just been her buck teeth. But can I just say...
Would buck teeth cause that?
No, not at all. But I do have to say, the fact that she does say it, Woogy Man, I legit sat there, I paused, rewound, and listened to her say, Woogy Man, at least like 10 times.
It's super cute.
It's adorable, and I kind of want it as a ringtone.
No. That would be great.
It'd be amazing. Phoebe reminds them that she was 5 years old when that happened, and Prue calls her out on still not being able to go down in the basement 18 years on.
So apparently she's 23 now.
Yeah.
Which, they keep changing her age and never having a birthday.
Yeah.
Because apparently, like, when she was meeting up with her dad, she was just barely legal to drink. So, 21, 22. And now she's suddenly 23, and that's not just barely legal. So.
Well, but, you know, everything about these girls are a little weird. I'm sorry, I'm just laughing at the fact of Blue's ear, just the one little ear.
Yeah, Blue is currently covered up by a neon green blanket, and the only thing sticking out from the blanket is a single ear.
And it's adorable. I keep getting distracted by it. There we go, cover it up, then I won't get distracted by it. So, Phoebe says that they weren't there, that it was real, and Piper says it was just a story.
It was a story that Grams told to get Phoebe to go to sleep at night.
Yeah, that's so she could sleep better.
Mm-hmm.
And then, because we can't stay in one place too long, we cut down to the basement.
Well, also,
where the
I
gas
love
man...
Phoebe's hair in this, like, portion, because, like, it's kind of flipping out at the bottom. It's cute. Yeah. Like, it's pulled back in the center of the top of the head, and then it's just, like, flipping out at the bottom. It's adorable. I love it. Okay, yes. But then we go to the basement.
Yeah, where the gas man has just gotten to the end of the stairs. Mm-hmm. And then the light bulb pops and goes out. Good thing there wasn't any gas in the basement, huh?
Mm-hmm. And good thing we're not in Stranger Things, because we know what all that means.
Shush, I've only watched the first episode of that.
Okay. Was there no light
stuff
know. Going on?
I don't remember.
No, there definitely was. There was some light shit going on.
I don't remember. I've only watched the first episode, and I'm going to have to watch it again, because I don't remember everything.
Okay.
There's so much that's happened. I've already been spoiled for things.
Fortunately, there's only 8 episodes.
Yeah.
So.
But I've been busy watching Charmed.
Mm-hmm.
And
I got through
a podcast.
I postponed rewatching the episodes so I could watch Stranger Things. And I went through them so fast. I think I did 4 and 4.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway.
It's good shit.
So he now does what he should have done from the start, which is turn on his flashlight. He looks around a little and then...
It really... Okay, the way he waves it around is hilarious because it's clearly just like, okay, now wave it around. Just kind of ineffectually waves it around.
That's why I said the man shit at his job. Just
saying. And then pretends to see something and angles it downward now.
Yeah. And then, a la convenience, trips over a box at his feet and drops the flashlight, which swings around for a few moments, and then lands perfectly to illuminate a crack in the ground. That looks like it was made by a saw, not an earthquake. But I digress.
Or, a mold.
Yeah.
Because they made some concrete to push up. Thank you, Blue. Mm-hmm. And... that was the mold they had, because it doesn't look like it's a crack. It looks like it's a divot or something. I don't know. It's
like I said, it looks like it was made by a saw. Mm-hmm. Like it.
Also,
yeah,
that flashlight looks kind of like the hilt of a lightsaber.
A little bit. Yeah, but then he kneels down to get closer
we
look.
See behind him, next to the stairs, there's a bike.
Yep.
I wrote down, "Hey, a bike."
And then he grabs a screwdriver, which is like the thickest shafted screwdriver I have ever seen.
It's also extremely long.
Yeah.
And he sticks it in the crack
and moves it around a little. And then he apparently hits something because white smoke starts rising out of the crack. And then the floor buckles, the crack gets bigger, and black smoke starts coming out.
CGI black smoke, baby.
As per usual.
Which is how you know it's evil, because we've got a really... color code shit.
Mm-hmm. The gasman is rightfully confused by this, and the smoke monster starts talking with a deep voice saying that he's been freed, and now the gasman will help him take back the house. Now, here's the best part. The guy who's playing the gasman is also the voice of the black smoke.
Oh my god! I was hoping you would have looked into who was doing the voice.
Yep.
That's great.
Yep. But I guess we can start calling this creature the Woogy Man, because now we've been told that he's in the basement. This creature is from the basement, so I'll allow it. This is now the Woogy Man. The Woogy Man envelops the Gasman, enters his body, and the Gasman
via the nostrils.
In a daze. Yeah.
And possibly the ear canals.
And any orifice, I'm sure. But yeah, the dude that plays the Gasman does the voice of the Woogy Man.
That's great.
And it's kind of awesome. But he does, because I looked him up, I didn't really write anything down, but I looked him up and he does a lot of voice actor stuff. So... So then we cut back to the kitchen, and Piper is holding the mail. She's looking at a large manila envelope and asking who Chandelier is. Phoebe says that it's her because she ordered some CDs. Man, I remember buying CDs via the mail. When Columbia House was a huge thing, was that when you were a kid? I don't know. Okay. You could buy 12 CDs for a penny.
Oh, wow.
After that, the prices were, like, stupid high, and it was a bit crazy. But I think, like, the whole point was, like, you promised to buy, like, 5 more CDs at whatever marked up price that they were charging, but that you could buy them at any time in, like, the next year or whatever it was. I think, but there might not have been, like, a set, like, within a year thing, which might have been their undoing. But that's neither here nor there. But they stopped selling CDs in 2009. And I know a lot of people that technically committed mail fraud by signing up with a bunch of different names at the same address to get more 12 for a penny CDs. Speaking of, Piper says that using a fake name to score some free CDs is a little dishonest, which is completely true due to the aforementioned mail fraud. And Prue asks if Phoebe's dark side is rearing its ugly head, which I think is very funny that Prue thinks that the dark side is mail fraud. Just saying. Yeah. Then Piper hands Prue her mail, which Prue starts stuffing into her purse, which just looked funny to me. And Phoebe says that she doesn't have a dark side, thank you very much.
At least not more than anyone else.
And that just because she protects the innocent doesn't mean she has to be innocent all the time. And Piper says that still believing in the Woogy Man is pretty innocent and cute. But Prue reminds her that she didn't think it was so cute when they were all sharing a room because it kept her up at night.
How many bedrooms are there in this place? Why were they all sharing a room? Okay, first of all,
well,
we've only ever seen 3 bedrooms.
Yeah, it would have been Graham's, their mom.
For this house, how are there only 3 bedrooms?
Hey, you know.
I think in the future there are more than 3 bedrooms, but...
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't remember.
It's still funny, because it's a huge fucking house. And 3 bedrooms?
No idea. But Phoebe says that it was scary and it was real, and then the gas man walks out of the basement, and Piper asks what the verdict is, and he replies, bad. And Prue has a lovely line of, bad as in destroy my entire dinner party, or bad as in you can fix it quickly, it'll just cost more than my entire education. I love that line. And then the gas man replies that by tonight there will be no more problems. And he
then walks back into the basement.
And Prue gives a lovely, okay. And then she says she's off and she leaves the kitchen. And Piper says that she has to go to the wine store and hands Phoebe the rest of her mail. Phoebe thanks her, and we cut back to the basement where the gas man walks down the stairs.
And we see a perfectly crisp outline of his silhouette.
Yep, shadow on the wall. And then he turns.
The shadow doesn't.
Yep, it takes a moment for the shadow to turn.
And he's like,
which one do you want? Yeah.
The shadow points up the stairs.
Well,
as Phoebe is calling down.
The shadow doesn't point until after Phoebe leaves.
Oh, okay.
Because Phoebe asks, if you need anything, I'll be upstairs if you need me. She walks away, and then the shadow points, and in the deep voice goes, Phoebe. And then the gas man nods, and we go to the opening credits. But the funny part is that as the gas man walks down the stairs, you see, he's, not swinging his arms, but, one of his arms is swinging. Mm-hmm. And the shadow also swings, but, a good 3 seconds later. It was really funny.
Yeah, yeah.
It was all right. It was very cool. So, after the opening credits...
The song that happens is...
Thanks to Soundhound, not sponsored. We know the song on the DVD was Zavlo House by Owsley.
Owsley, yes.
Owsley.
And there is a lyric in that song
that mentions the boogeyman.
An up-close look at the boogeyman.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really funny.
Yeah.
And I got why they chose it.
Yeah. I will admit, I missed that the first time because I was busy soundhounding. Mm-hmm. And so it took me, I had to listen to it twice to get that boogeyman line. But I thought it was very, very funny. And then, because now you're watching on DVD, I figured I would check Netflix. So again, thanks to Soundhound, also not sponsored. We know that the song on Netflix is Goes Around by a band called Rock 4 from their album Memories of the Never Happened, which came out in 2007. I think that is an awesome album name. Just saying.
That is kind of cool.
Memories of the Never Happened. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't remember if that song was good, bad, indifferent, because I didn't really pay attention to it long enough.
It's fine.
Yeah. It doesn't really matter anymore, because now you have the DVDs and we're very happy. But we're still going to find out what the song is after the credits on Netflix. Just because we've been, telling you this whole time, might as well continue, at least for the first season.
Sure.
We will tell you what the song is, at least on the DVD.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we'll continue telling you what's on Netflix. We might not continue it for the second season. Mm-hmm. We'll see. So, for our first bridge shot, instead of being the Golden Gate Bridge, which is a very red bridge, we have the Oakland Bay Bridge, which is a very gray bridge. Still pretty.
Still a bridge.
Yeah. Then we get the birds flying by with the Coit Tower in the background, a shot of a boat on the water that pulls out into the shot of the Golden Gate Bridge, then that shaky overhead shot of the roofs of the buildings, which gives us the triangle building overhead, before bringing our streetcar total up to 20, with the canon-added streetcar making its way through traffic.
Yay!
Mm-hmm. Then we get to Buckland's via a shot of the sign that pans left. We've seen that shot before. And we find ourselves in Prue's office. We have not had any people outside, so we don't have any of our normal extras. It's kind of sad. I don't think we get any of them in this episode.
I don't think so either.
It's a little sad.
I need me some tan jacket floor skirt lady.
Yeah, maybe just some flowers in her hair lady. Mm-hmm. Or brown suit lady. Somebody, but we get nobody.
No.
Nope. But it's okay. We'll deal. They'll probably be back next week.
Probably. Let's hope.
Mm-hmm. So, we're in Prue's office, and she picks up a fallen lamp and some statues from a table.
How nothing broke in her office, we don't know.
Yeah. And then she picks up some papers that are just, in a stack.
In the middle of the floor.
Yeah. And then, without a care in the world, as the door is wide open behind her, she uses her powers to start to straighten a picture on the wall, doesn't finish the job, and Claire enters.
And says, a little down on the right.
On the left.
That's funny, because I think it was down on the right.
But I think she was telling her that she needed to put it a little down on the left.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it needs to go down a little on the left. I think that's what she said.
Whatever.
Okay. Whatever. But she walks in wearing a red jacket with black buttons and a black skirt. It seems that she didn't see Prue use her powers, which is lucky for Prue.
Very.
Yeah.
So Prue smiles and goes and adjusts the painting.
A little surprised, goes, oh, thanks, and goes over. And she walks over and just one hand on the edge and just pops it right into place, right where it should be. I'm like, when has that ever happened, ever?
I think I've done it maybe once.
Yeah, seriously, no.
No.
2 hands at least, or at least a you overcompensate and have to pull it back down. But no, she just popped it perfect with one hand.
Gotta wonder how many takes that took.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably why.
Yeah. Then Prue asks if this was Claire's first quake, and she says that it was, and it was hopefully her last, that she prefers her ceilings above her, and I agree wholeheartedly. Somebody asked me once, because my brother and my sister-in-law and my niece, they all live in California, and somebody asked me once, if I ever wanted to move out there to be closer to them, and I said, no thanks, I like my floors not moving. Claire hands Prue a piece of paper that is apparently the final guest list of all of the important clients for the dinner party, and at the top of the list is a woman named Professor Whittlesey, which is a very hard name to say, whose family apparently just bought the Calder. Now, if you look up Calder, you'll find that Alexander Calder was born in 1898 and died unexpectedly in 1976. His wiki page is fascinating. You should totally look him up. He has made some truly interesting sculptures, including the flamingo sculpture that's been in the Federal Plaza in Chicago since 1974.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And the bent propeller, which stood at the World Trade Center in New York from 1970 until it was crushed by the rubble of the buildings falling on September 11th during the attacks in 2001.
Which today is.
Yeah, we are recording episode 115 on the 15th anniversary of September 11th, which means we are going to take a moment of silence in remembrance. Of course, because this is a podcast and you can't have a whole lot of silence, I will be cutting out that silence. So please pause now and return to us after you have had your moment of silence. Okay,
Welcome
back.
back.
Let's go on with the show. Claire says that the professor's family can afford to buy a lot of stuff, and because she's fascinated with Prue's house for some reason, Prue's job is to keep her happy. And then a woman wearing a dress suit in a beautiful shade of blue with silver buttons
And
walks
red hair.
Yeah.
She's orange. She's a ginger.
Walks in and asks Claire if it's all right that she brings a guest. Claire says, of course.
She tells Prue it's going to be 5+1 for that evening, which clues the professor in to the fact that this is Prue and it's her house.
Yeah. I love my notes, and this just shows I've been thinking about things. I said, she tells Prue that it's going to be 5+1, because everything is perfectly fine having an extra guest at a dinner party right after an earthquake. Thanks, Claire. Fucking Claire. Fucking Roger.
Claire's better than Roger.
Well, yes. Anyway, hi, bloopers. Okay, so the woman seems excited that it's Prue's home that they're going to be in, and that's when Claire decides to introduce Prue to Professor Whittlesey.
Whittlesey.
Whittlesey. That's a hard name to say, that one.
You whittle, see?
There you go. Whittlesey. So, Professor Whittlesey tells Prue that her name is Beth, so that's what I'll be calling her, as it's easier to say. Beth tells Prue that she's very excited to be spending an evening in a house with such history.
Prue's like, oh, you know a lot about that Hallowell history?
And she says that she's better versed in the house's structure than its inhabitants. And then Claire chimes in that she's tenured at Berkeley for some reason.
Because
Beth says
it adds to her clout, I guess? I don't know. It's very clear that Claire is just concerned with the professor's status.
Yeah.
Because Claire's name is Price, after all.
Indeed.
And her price is apparently pretty high, but once it's hit, oh boy, you've got her.
Uh-huh. Beth says architectural history, which I'm assuming that means she teaches that, and that she uses the Halliwell Manor as an example in one of her lectures. Yeah. Prue jokingly asks if she mentions the leaky roof and the limited hot water, which I thought was hilarious.
Yes.
Oh, and Berkeley, I looked it up, is about 25 minutes from San Francisco. 25-minute drive.
Cool. That'll come in later.
Yeah, just saying. Beth says that the original house was a masterpiece, but it had to be rebuilt after the earthquake of 1906 when it was completely destroyed.
Oh, you mean it's exposition time?
Yep, because we learned that apparently that was right around the time that Prue's great-grandparents moved in.
So those would be Graham's parents.
Yes. See, now
The Graham's parents.
Yes. See, but now here's my question. Didn't they say this house has been in their family
For generations. That's technically still true.
Yeah, but is it really just 3 generations? That's it?
4. Great, grand, mom, them.
Okay, so 4 generations. That's it. Just 4 generations.
Well, I mean, I can see that being pumped up by, Grams for the girls. This house is old, and it's ours, and we've had it for a really long time.
We've had it since it was rebuilt. Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, I could see Grams using that as a you must stay in this house kind of brainwashing.
Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. When I think of something being in someone's family for generations, I don't think of 4 generations. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, for me, when you say something's been in my family for generations, I think like 8, 9, 10 generations, not 4.
I could see 4 being generations. If it was only 3, you'd say it was my grandparents.
I guess.
Like, generally you won't specify that, oh, yeah, we've had it since my great-grandparent. You'd be like, you'd say grandparents, but then you'd be like, oh, yeah, it's been here for generations. Like,
I guess so. I don't know.
It's a choice.
Yeah.
To say it that way.
Yeah, I don't know.
But also, they probably hadn't decided upon the lore of the house.
True.
But since this was going to be an earthquake episode, they're like, well, hey.
When was the last time we had a big one of those? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I guess.
Well, a really big one. Who knows if the one they mentioned later in the episode ever even happened. Because it would have been around 80-something? Because Phoebe was 5. And I believe... Okay, have we actually gone through with their birth dates yet?
Mm-mm.
We should probably do that at some point.
Yeah.
Just to, like, get the chronology of the sisters down. Because what I'm pretty sure I remember is that Prue was born in 1970. Which would track for her turning 28 in season 1.
I think we've mentioned that.
Mm-hmm. But we never actually, like, went through and actually said born this year, specifically.
Yeah.
But yeah, because if it was 18 years, we're now in 1999, that means 81. Yeah, 81.
So, yeah, we have Prue born October 28th, 1970, Piper born August 7th, 1973, and Phoebe born November 2nd, 1975. And in this episode, we learned that she was born in the manor.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that.
So around 1980, 1981.
So, yeah, whatever. We digress from generations. Fine.
Yeah.
Beth says that metaphysicists believe the land is a spiritual nexus.
Sorry, that's a job description there?
Apparently. I don't know. Metaphysicists.
I know metaphysical is a thing, but can you actually get paid to be a metaphysicist?
No idea. But she says the spiritual nexus, and this will come back in later episodes, working kind of like the Hellmouth in Buffy.
Only kind of. When it's convenient.
Yeah, it attracts the evil, it attracts the people, because now
It's definitely used as a plot point later.
Yeah.
In like season 4 or 5.
I think it's
definitely season 5.
It's used as a plot point a couple of times, where people are after the house because it's on the spiritual nexus, and the nexus can...
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll get more on the spiritual nexus as we get into the episode. But Claire smiles and says that the building is still standing after this morning's rumble, and then ushers Beth out of the room, saying they'll see her at 7.
I have never seen Claire smile this much.
Mm-hmm.
Which is how you know she's absolutely smitten with the professor's money.
Absolutely. So she shoves her out of the room, tells her that they'll see her at 7.
It's the price of business.
Yeah. She turns back to Prue and reminds her that it's now +1, and they leave, and Prue picks up the phone and dials. And we
frantically.
We get an exterior shot of a building with red awnings that looks to be for Cafe Toucher, which is a cafe and chocolate shop located 1 block from Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills.
Cafe Touche.
Nope. It's pronounced Toucher.
Seriously?
It's from Switzerland.
The fuck?
Instead of Germany. If it was from Germany, it would be Teuscher. But it is from Switzerland. It is pronounced Toucher.
Okay.
Yeah. There's also a white awning covering whatever's next door, the next door over, that says Sloan's on it. I tried to look that up, but it doesn't exist anymore. But it might have been a nightclub. So yeah, Cafe Toucher.
Which is for chocolates.
Yep, it's a cafe and chocolate shop. And then
in LA.
Yeah, in Beverly Hills. So, yeah, I don't know why they thought they could get away with that one. I took a picture of that as well. Put that up on the thing. But I'm not sure which building we're supposed to believe that she's in as the wine store. If it's supposed to be Cafe Toucher, if it's supposed to be the Sloan's building. Personally, I'm going to go with the Sloan's building only because it's not a cafe and chocolate shop. Yeah. But... So we're shown that Piper's walking around this wine store as she's talking to Prue on her cell phone. And we know that she's in the wine store because there's tons of wine bottles around. But the first thing that whips past the screen, I slowed it down to look at it, is a 1996 Louis Jadot Pinot Noir. I looked it up. It is a real thing. From my limited research via Google, it looks like they just simplified the labels. Just saying.
Yeah, the name seems a little simplified.
Yeah,
It almost looks like Comic Sans.
It is not Comic Sans.
It almost
but it looks
like,
a little like
yeah.
it. Yeah, but it's not. So Piper has added a tan jacket to her outfit, and she's walking around with a little red basket on her arm. It was very funny. Prue tells her that it's now +1 and that she's sorry. And Piper is rightfully upset. As she's walking, she glances at a bottle of wine on the shelf.
To see that it's there.
Yep. And tells Prue that she owes her one. She hangs up, puts her phone away, pulls out a list to look at it.
And as she pulls out the list, a hand reaches and pulls the bottle.
Mm-hmm.
Piper reaches her hand back.
Just blindly reaches behind her.
Notices there's nothing there. Turns around. Because, holy crap, that happened fast.
Yeah.
And sees the guy.
Wearing a peach button-down shirt, dark pants, and a black jacket. And he is holding what is supposed to be the last bottle of 1993 Cholera Jensen. I looked that one up, and while it is a real brand, the label that they show is completely different than the real thing. I didn't take a picture of that one because I don't care enough. But
that's fair.
Yeah. So Piper tries to tell him that bottle is hers, and she picks up a different bottle of wine and says a bunch of wine terms.
A bottle that just happened to be right next to her.
Yeah, she literally just grabbed something next to her.
Which, granted, if they're sorted by genre is not the right word, but I'll say genre. If they're sorted by genre, then that's a really good place to look for a similar wine.
Yeah, exactly. She says a bunch of wine terms of robust flavor, good nose, great vintage, whatever.
He's like, oh, and know all about wine.
Yeah, and it's probably better than the Cholera. He says he's impressed, but then wants to know why she wants it so bad.
She says, because it's got a great body.
Yeah.
Which then gets a reaction
from
him.
It gets a look from him, like, in that way of, like is she talking about me or the wine kind of thing?
That's what she said.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
But then, frustrated, she says that she's making coq au vin, and she needs the bottle
wine
more than he does. And he apologizes, but says that he has already been to 3 wine stores, lunch break is long over, and he was told that this was the bottle to get.
By whom?
Yeah, she starts laughing with this, like, I cannot believe this shit kind of laugh. Puts down the bottle she was trying to get him to take and was like, told? And he says that the woman who recommended the Cholera grew up in a vineyard and knows how to choose wine. And then he does this weird, creepy, sticking out his tongue thing that made me want to punch him.
Who is that actor?
His name is Sean Christian. He's from Grand Rapids, Michigan. He's been in a bunch of little stuff, like onesie-twosie stuffs. His very first acting thing, I think, was the soap opera As the World Turns.
Mm-hmm.
Then he was in a couple of different TV series, like as a single episode or a couple of episodes of a TV series. He was also on One Life to Live for like an episode. Then he's on this show, and he'll actually come back a couple of times on this show. He's like, I think, in 2 other episodes of this one. Thanks, Blue.
Mm.
He was on Beverly Hills 90210.
Oh, so he knows Shannon.
Yeah, as a character named Wayne. In case you watch that show. I don't watch that show.
My interest in it is waning.
Yeah. But he's been on a bunch of little stuff. He was apparently in the show Birds of Prey. That's funny. Where he played Wade.
Okay.
Wade Brixton. But the funniest part is, so he's done a bunch of stuff, whatever. He started out in soap operas. And he is now on Days of Our Lives, which I think is hilarious. He went back to soap operas.
Yeah, that's funny.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I wanted to punch him in his stupid face.
Mm.
And Piper, who is still frustrated, says that she grew up in a house with 2 sisters and knows how to do this. And she throws her hands up.
And freezes him.
Yeah.
Like he's in the act of flinching away.
Yeah, he leans back sort of like in a don't hit me kind of way. And then he freezes in place.
And then she realizes after she's frozen him, wait, I can't do that.
Yeah, she starts talking to herself about how she can't use her powers for personal gain. And then she tries
not really
to convince herself
not really.
that it's not. And then we get a little continuity error.
In that
when you
his
see
face.
The insert shot of his face looks different in the close-up than it does in the wide shot.
Yeah, it does.
I have pictures of that. They'll be up on the site. But so she realizes while he's frozen that she can't take the wine and walks away from him saying he can keep it. And then he unfreezes and then looks around because now she's disappeared. So what he saw was a woman saying, I can do this. Puts her hands up like she was going to attack him, and then disappear.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and the best part is that she starts off by saying, I live with two sisters.
Uh-huh.
And so my thought process is that when he unfreezes, he's like, how does living with sisters get you that? I just got makeovers, man.
Yeah. It's like, wait, you live with two sisters so you can disappear? Well, shit. All right. So, yeah. So then we cut to Phoebe walking down the stairs at the manor. And she walks past the camera and then comes back into frame, and we see that...
Well, it's that shot from the
yeah.
perspective of Grams's photo.
Yeah. And we see that Grams's photo on the wall is crooked again.
Phoebe frowns and fixes
Straightens it. Yeah. And then we hear the gas man calling for help. Phoebe runs to the kitchen asking where he is, which should have been obvious since he's been working in the basement all morning. And when he calls for help again, she asks what's wrong. He says that he fell, that he might have sprained his ankle, and he could really use a hand. And we get a lovely shot from the top of the stairs.
Down the steps.
That shows that awesome crack in the floor.
Yeah, that looks kind of like a stone door opening.
Yeah, a little bit.
It looks a little Lord of the Ringsy.
Yeah, it's a little odd. And there's so much light on that floor.
It's so light.
Like the flashlight is still sitting on the floor and illuminating it.
Oh, that could be it. I was thinking it was an egress window.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Because, they would have needed one.
I mean,
they would have needed to add one to keep up to code. Also, look at all that beadboard around the entrance.
I mean,
And the single pole in the middle of the floor. Yeah. Which, okay, also kind of funny, because the direction that basement is going, that is not actually under much of the house.
Who knows?
It's just funny to me.
Yeah.
Because the kitchen is already off on, the left side of the house. It's on the same side of the house as the staircase, and the staircase has a window to the outside, so we know that's the edge.
Mm-hmm.
So the basement goes past the edge of the house.
Yeah.
And that amuses me.
Yep.
But I think way too much about
architecture.
Floor plans.
Yeah. So Phoebe tries to get up the courage to go into the basement, and as she's starting to go toward the door, she touches the picture on the wall of the three little smiling girls,
and has a premonition of the past. Mm-hmm. We can tell because it's got Grams in it, and we sort of see her hair's a little bit different from the photo. Mm-hmm. She's kind of got it clipped back, and she's wearing this frankly awesome dress that we cannot tell what color it is because guess what? It's in black and white.
Yeah.
And one of her hands is outstretched into the basement. We can see some swirly black in the distance.
She's wearing a very interesting ring.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you hear a voiceover of a little girl saying, Grams?
Yeah.
And Grams turns around and she says, Phoebe, go back to bed.
Mm-hmm. And then she turns back to whatever shadow thing is in front of her.
And then the vision ends.
Uh-huh. It ends and Phoebe realizes that was the Woogy Man.
Mm-hmm.
She calls down to the gas man that she's going to call for somebody to help, but he says that he needs her help. Emphasis on the word. Why this doesn't give off tons of warning bells in her head is a la convenience, I'm sure. Against all common sense, she starts walking down the stairs and calling for him. We get some really annoying shaky cam footage going down the stairs, and when she asks where he is, he appears behind her.
Just walks right into frame.
Yep.
So he was clearly hiding behind that bike.
Yeah. So she quickly turns around, startled, and realizes that he isn't hurt. And we hear the deep voice of the Woogy Man calling her name. And as the gas man smiles and backs up, she turns around to see the Woogy Man floating out of the crack. And he says that her nightmares of his existence are true. And she says that she's a good witch and he can't take her. And of course then
he's
he says,
just like, fuck that.
Yeah, you'll fight me at first, but in the end, you'll do everything you're asked. And then he floats inside and possesses her. And we see this by her shaking, getting black smoke up her nose, and then getting perfect posture.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. We cut to the front door,
where Piper
is trying to enter with her arms full of 2 brown paper bags, 1 canvas bag, all full of groceries, and her purse.
Mm-hmm. And she's like, no, it's okay. I'll do it all by myself. Me, the culinary pachyderm.
Which is probably not the word she actually meant to use, because pachyderm is a very large animal with thick skin, like an elephant, rhino, or hippo. She probably meant pack mule, because that refers to an animal that is forced to carry heavy objects for no pay or gratitude.
I like pachyderm, though.
I do. It's very funny. It's very, very funny. And this is the only time that phrase is ever uttered on any show ever, and I enjoy it immensely.
It'll be uttered at least once more by the end of this show by us.
By us, yes. Probably randomly say it throughout the next 3 years. Who knows?
I hope so. I never want to leave that behind.
Culinary pachyderm. It's a beautiful line. So as she walks inside, we hear the sound of her getting an electric shock from the door, but don't
I wonder if it was
anything.
supposed to be pack mule in the script and she just missaid it. And they're just like, it works.
Sure, that works. It's funny. Yeah, I don't know.
They're probably not word perfect on this script.
Don't know.
This isn't Gilmore Girls, people.
Yeah. So yeah, as she walks inside, we hear the sound of her getting an electric shock from the door. We don't see anything, but we hear it.
And she
like,
yells
says,
out
like,
into the
an owl.
house, like, maybe we need to get the electricity checked.
Too. Yeah, she puts her purse down on the little coat rack thing, calls out to Phoebe about checking the electricity, and then we see Kit walk past her without the collar on. Kit is not wearing a collar.
Okay, I could have sworn in one of those shots, like, when she first comes tearing around the corner, it's a different angle, and we see the collar on her, but when she's flying past, there's no collar.
I don't remember seeing the collar on her at all, but I have a picture of her as she's going toward the door.
I mean, not like it really matters in the end, but I kind of want to check this now.
Okay. You check. I'll lay on the dog.
Okay, I guess not. Yeah.
Yep.
No collar at all.
No collar at all.
Which is funny.
Yeah.
I mean, not like it had their phone number on it or anything.
True, but it's just interesting that all of a sudden now the cat who we so rarely see at all now has no collar on. But
She has sensed the shift in the house, and she's like, finally, a door! Me leave now.
maybe. Yep.
And she's just yowling all the way out the door.
Yep. Piper calls after her before calling out for Phoebe again. And then she carries the groceries into the kitchen and puts them on the counter and turns around and gets startled by the gas man who has appeared behind her. She asks if everything's okay with the house, and he says it will be.
Okay, yeah, when she puts the groceries on the center island, she, like, swings the canvas bag over, and I swear it lands on that range. I'm just like, if that had hit one of the buttons, you would be needing the gas man.
Yep.
That's fucking dangerous.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, so she asks for an ETA because she's going to have one very stressed out sister. And as he's creepily getting a little too close to her, she asks if he's seen her sister, and then he grabs her hands. She yells out for Phoebe, and he tries to reach for a carving fork that,
He's
a la
like,
convenience, happens to be on the counter.
Well, he's pinned her against the shore edge of the island, and is trying to find something to stab her with, but because he's got, like, her hands behind her back, because he's trying to pin her, he can't actually, like, turn and grab a knife or anything, so he just reaches for the carving fork, which is just out of reach.
Yeah, but it's a la convenience
Just
on the
next
counter.
to the range.
Yeah. She calls out for Phoebe again, who runs out of the basement, and a baseball bat just suddenly materializes.
With a
in
puff
her
of
hand.
black smoke.
She hits the gas man over the head and knocks him unconscious, and then goes to comfort Piper, who thought he was going to kill her because she didn't have a chance to freeze him. And then she asks Phoebe where she got the bat. Phoebe
Phoebe's
says
like,
she doesn't know, that it just sort of appeared.
and Piper's like, appeared like you opened a closet and it was there, or appeared like you thought bat and
there it was. And
She's
she
like,
realized
yeah,
door number
2.
two. Yeah. I just love that it was door number 2, which I thought was
Yeah.
funny. It was
I use that pretty often.
Yeah.
People give like 2 or 3 options. I'm like, door number 2.
Yeah. She says that she can't explain it, but something weird happened to her down in the... And she trails off.
And her, like, her eyes close a little bit, and it seems like...
Like she can't say it?
Yeah, like she can't say it. Like something's preventing her from saying it.
Yeah.
Possibly the Woogy man.
Possibly.
And then, fortunately, the gas man, like...
He groans.
Mumbles
yeah.
and moves a little bit.
We get that lovely line again of spill. Piper tells her to spill on how she made the bat materialize. And then the gas man groans, and Phoebe says, safety first, witchcraft later. And then they have to call 911. And it was just very funny. And then we jump cut to a while later, outside the manor. We see that the police have shown up. And Andy and Daryl, because they're the only cops in the city.
Yep. And though this is neither a robbery nor a homicide, they are, of course, involved.
They walk by the front of the house. Andy is in a brown suit, blue shirt, red tie. Daryl is in a gray shirt, dark green shirt, and gray patterned tie.
Gray suit.
Yeah, gray suit.
You said shirt.
Did I?
You said shirt twice.
That's alright, I'll edit that in post.
No, you won't, because now I have mentioned it.
Nope, I can still edit it and then just take that out.
Fuck you.
Hey, there was an episode a bit back where I said that Prue had walked into her outfit instead of into her office.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah, So I edited that in post.
Oh, fuck you.
I fixed it.
You're ruining all my fun, correcting you.
Yep, I fixed it.
People never know how much you're wrong.
That's right. But if they ever get us on Patreon, maybe they'll find out.
If we ever do this live.
Oh, Jesus. We could never do this live.
No.
We could never do
Not
this
the
live.
way we do it now.
No, we could never do this live. Because you can't pay attention to one thing long enough to do this live.
I really can't.
You really can't. Anyway, Daryl is in a gray suit, dark green shirt, and gray patterned tie. Andy says that he just got background on the gas man, and we see an ambulance leave the driveway of the house next door. And as it leaves the frame, we see Prue running toward them, like trucking.
Mm-hmm.
She is like going fast. And we learn, with a little bit of exposition, that apparently the gas man has no record, not even a parking ticket. He's a family man, church volunteer, and Little League coach. And Daryl quips, "When good coaches go bad," next week on Fox. Which made me laugh.
Yep.
Because Fox did have like a bunch of different, like, when good blank go bad kind of shows. It was very funny.
Yeah, Daryl's got a bunch of good quips.
He does. He really does. He's got a bunch of nice one-liners. It's lovely. Prue has now walked up to them because apparently as soon as she saw them, she stopped running and asks Andy what's going on. And he says that everything's fine, but there was an incident with the gas man getting a little rough with Piper. And so she runs toward the house and he calls after her. And then we jump to her opening the front door, where she gets an electric shock as she walks through. But unlike Piper, we see this one, bright blue electric lighting.
Yep.
I do have a picture of that. She goes into the living room where Piper and Phoebe are sitting on the couch, and she asks if Piper's okay. Piper says that she's fine. But he attacked her, and Phoebe stopped him.
Phoebe, playing with her nails, looks completely nonplussed at all of this.
Yep.
She looks bored.
Yeah, a little bit. And Piper turns to her and tells her to show Prue, but Phoebe says that she can't do it now. Prue asks, do what? And Piper says that Phoebe has a new power. She thinks of something and poof, it appears. Phoebe said that she just did it once, and Piper chimed in that it saved her life.
And you know, I thought you would be happy. You've always wanted an active power.
Thrilled. But, you know, Phoebe replies in a very bored tone, whatever.
Because she suddenly regressed to being a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
And then Prue rightly chimes in with, hang on a sec. I thought our powers are supposed to progress, not grow out of nowhere.
Yeah. And that if it did grow, she thought it would be premonition-esque. Now, what I want to know is what would be premonition-esque? Like, what is a step up from premonitions?
Time travel? Or possibly teleportation. It
That's
would make
where
sense.
You went? Is time travel? Like, I legit was like, I have no idea what would be premonition-esque.
Well, I mean, think about it. Like, if it's a premonition of something that you're supposed to stop, what would make it easier to get there? Time travel? Teleportation?
Maybe.
Like, if it's something in the past and you need to know more about it, it would make sense if you could time travel back to that in order to learn. Or if it's something where, like, someone else time traveled to a point in the past that you need to fix, like, that would help you fix it.
Maybe. My thought
but,
was
like, that would be premonition related for me, because hers is a temporal related thing,
my thought,
as is Piper's, but Piper's is also physical.
Yes, but my thought was, like, how we know that eventually Piper's power will grow that she can freeze bigger spots.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really a spoiler. But I was thinking that maybe that Phoebe's power would grow so that she could, you know, call upon a vision. That she could be like, well, what's going to happen next Tuesday? That kind of thing. You know what I mean?
That's
like
fair.
That, like, she basically is like,
I was going from the perspective of, like, adding
a
a power. Like, if you were to gain an additional power, what would it be?
But that was the whole point, is that that Prue is saying that they're supposed to progress, not grow at random.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Materializing things is not a premonition-related power in any regard.
No. Not even remotely.
It would make more sense for that to be maybe one of Prue's or something.
Right. So...
And then Phoebe is being a newly minted teenager again for some reason.
Well, because Prue thinks that Phoebe might have done something with the Book of Shadows. Like, you know... Did you do... Like, I smell Book of Shadows. Like, that kind of thing. And then, Phoebe gets a little bitchy and asks where Prue was when she was saving Piper's ass.
Yep.
Which, you know... And Piper tries to calm her, but Phoebe says that Prue's just pissy because this time she didn't get to play Wonder Woman, which I thought was very funny. And she gets up and says, she's not in the mood to soothe her ego, and then she leaves, and when she literally stomps, past the picture of Graham's, it's now upside down.
Yep.
Why none of the other girls noticed the picture, I don't know.
Well, this entire episode, Phoebe's the only one who's really paid attention to the picture.
Mm-hmm. But Prue sighs that tonight's gonna be fun. Piper says everything will be fine, including Phoebe, and she gives Prue a little pat on the arm.
Like, she's got her arms crossed, and one of the hands just reaches out to Prue's shoulder and does a little pat.
Yeah, it was adorable.
It was absent-minded and great.
Yeah. And then we cut to Phoebe walking down the basement stairs, and when she gets to the bottom, she puts out her hand, and a metal nail file appears, and she turns to her shadow and thanks the Woogy Man for her new power, and he says that she must not fail again, and that she must use her power against her sisters. And then Phoebe, who in the close-ups is walking toward the shadow, but in the wide shot is inching to the left toward the stairs, speaks all timidly that she doesn't want to hurt her sisters, and the Woogy Man says that she's not strong enough to fight him. And then she gets a creepy smile on her face, and we fade out to commercial break.
Oh, you know what this is reminding me of? This is reminding me of how they're showing the shift with Piper in the Wendigo episode.
Mm-hmm.
Of, like, from Piper to the Wendigo. They just entirely do it based on personality.
Yeah.
So apparently both Evil Phoebe and
Evil Piper get bitchy.
Piper Wendigo Piper are just super bitchy.
Yeah, they get super duper bitchy.
Except Piper has more outbursts.
Yes. But what I want to know is why neither Piper or Prue remember this. Because Phoebe isn't usually this bitchy. Wouldn't at least Prue be like, well, when Piper got all evil-fied, she got all bitchy.
I don't know.
Maybe correlation.
They don't connect a lot.
No,
They're
they
currently
really don't.
assuming that there is no Woogie Man because it was a silly story Graham's told, and they're not thinking yet. So that's just their MO.
Yeah. So, after the commercial break, we get an establishing shot of the manor door in all its stained glass glory, and Phoebe is sitting in a chair in the basement.
Wearing a lovely little red number.
Yes.
Hair pulled a little bit back.
Yep. I will describe the dress in a little more detail when we see her next. And she is filing her nails, and the shadow of what looks like a sock puppet creeps up the wall and tells her that it's almost time. And then the power box on the wall sparks, and we get an insert shot of her nails, which are in a lovely shade of CGI electric blue.
Yep.
And as the voice tells her to use the powers, she waves the hand holding the nail file over the other one,
of course,
and the nails turn red.
The nails of the hand holding the nail file
are already red. Yeah.
Which is difficult to see when it's just waving past the screen, but it's kind of obvious because of the color of the blue that her other nails are supposedly.
Yeah. And then she smiles at the change in her nails and stares at her fingers. And we cut to the kitchen, where Piper has now added a white apron to her outfit, goes to turn on the blender, but gets an electric shock, and instead of saying a swear word, after she cries out in pain, she just softly goes, flower!
Well, she was about to say fuck. She was about to say fuck, and then was like, flower!
Yeah. It made me laugh so hard.
Yep. Because Piper won't swear even when she thinks she's alone.
Yep, she tries so hard not to, and it's adorable.
But granted, it's a family show, so they're not allowed to.
Yeah. And then Prue enters the kitchen saying that there's lava water spewing from the shower heads.
Prue in her fluffy white bathrobe, with her hair half pulled back, because apparently that's how she takes showers.
Hey, she must have started to turn on the water, hadn't pulled her hair down yet. Either that or she wasn't washing her hair.
Every time we've seen her come out of the shower, except for in the Fear episode, she had her hair half pulled back.
Well, because if you're not washing your hair, why does it matter?
Who doesn't wash their hair when taking a shower?
I don't wash my hair every time I take a shower.
I do. That's why I take showers, to clean my hair.
No.
My hair is my metric for cleanliness. If my hair is dirty, the rest of me is dirty.
Well, see, for me, because my hair is blue.
Oh, yeah.
I can't wash my hair every day, or even every other day. I wash my hair once a week, because otherwise my hair will fade so fast. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
And because my shampoo and conditioner are $20 each.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. So, I wash my hair once a week.
Well, no, my mom used to yell at me because she's like, you need to shower every day. And I'm like, dude, every other day is the max.
Well, but, you can shower every day. You just don't have to wash your hair every day.
Well, also, I was not doing that much strenuous stuff in high school, so it didn't make sense for me to be showering every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, no, I only need to wash my hair at most once every other day. She's like, well, then just take a shower without washing your hair. I'm like, I don't do that. I have never done that.
Yep.
Come on, woman.
Yep. But yeah, that's why shower caps were invented. And I will admit, I really like taking a shower with the shower cap on, because the sound, because I put my ears under the shower cap so that the sound of the water hitting the shower cap is just really fun.
Yeah.
And you can get a little scalp massage without getting your hair wet. It's great. It's absolutely lovely.
Yeah.
But so yeah, Prue enters the kitchen saying there's lava water spewing from the shower heads and asks if Piper turned up the water heater again. Piper says no and goes to turn on the food processor, which gives her another electric shock. And she says that the earthquake must have messed up the wiring, and has a fun line of, try cooking a feast when your own kitchen is attacking you. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
Prue tells her to relax because they still have an hour before, and
then
the doorbell rings. Piper looks at her watch, which tells her it's 7, and for some unknown a la convenience reason, she was paying attention to the clock on the microwave, which had said 6:08 and now flashes and then sparks.
And then goes dark.
Mm-hmm. Prue says that something weird is going on, and Phoebe walks out of the basement asking if anyone's going to answer the door.
And the camera is at a very interesting angle. Like, it's kind of tilted.
It's a little wonky, but that's kind of, I think...
Well, they're trying to show something as wonky.
Yeah.
You know, it's like texture painting.
Yeah. And we can now see that she is in a very pretty red velvet dress with ruffles. Like a ruffle
At the
detail.
neckline.
Yeah.
Spaghetti straps, because why not?
Yeah. Prue is confused by her coming from the basement and asks about the Woogy Man, and Phoebe says it's just a story and tells Prue that she should probably finish getting ready. And then we cut to the foyer, lovely little jump cut, where Phoebe opens the door. We see Beth, who is wearing a different blue outfit, silk this time, and is carrying a golden drawstring bag, which we are assuming is a bottle of wine of some sort, because that's the kind of bags they come in. Claire is in an ornate gold jacket with a black collar.
And we later see she is wearing something that has a black skirt that comes to just above the knee.
Uh-huh.
And some super chunky heels.
Yeah. So they're both standing there. Phoebe answers the door and says, "Welcome to Halliwell Manor. My name is Phoebe. I'll be your cruise director this evening." Which is a lovely reference to The Love Boat, which was a show that Aaron Spelling also produced. She smiles, turns to leave, and we see both Claire and Beth with confused looks on their faces. And the guy from the wine store walks up behind them. Claire
with
makes
zero
her
explanation.
Yeah.
And they all just walk on in.
Yeah. Well, Claire kind of tentatively makes her way into the house. It was kind of funny. She kind of was like, do we really want to do this? Okay, let's do this, kind of thing. And we cut to the kitchen, where Piper is talking to herself. Everything's fine. This is fine. And she tries to pour flour into a measuring cup and misses, and then is like, this is an utter disaster. I'm a good person. What did I do to deserve this?
Puts her hands over her face.
And
I think she leans her elbows on the island.
But she buries her lovely clean face in her lovely clean hands. And then the guy that she met in the wine store enters the kitchen, saying that Prue told him to give this to the chef, and we see he's holding the golden bag that Beth had at the door.
Did Prue tell him, or did Phoebe? Did he say Prue?
I think he said Prue.
That's weird because she's upstairs. Oh well.
Yeah. He is wearing a brown jacket over a black turtleneck and dark tan pants. Piper turns at the sound of his voice, and now her face is covered in flour. Now,
like, covered.
I have pictures where she put her nice clean face in her nice clean hands. Nice clean face as she's turning. Lovely, lovely clean face. And then as soon as she turns around, her face is covered in flour. Yep.
And there's a nice chunky scrunchie holding back her hair.
Yep. But those were all the rage.
Those
were, the thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I had a lovely scrunchie collection. My favorite one was shades of neon. It was yellow, orange, and green.
Yeah.
Neon shades. It was lovely.
I kind of always hated those scrunchies.
Well, your hair is like curly.
Not that curly. Not usually.
Well, mine is stick straight, so...
So wouldn't it just fall out?
No, you just tightened it real tight. They went slack a lot. Like the elastic kind of died, because you have to tighten them so hard when your hair is super straight.
Yeah.
It's bad. But, whatever. We learned that this guy's name is Josh, which made me laugh, because that's my brother's name.
Yep.
And that he works for the professor. So Piper then realizes he's the +1. Josh realizes that he stole her wine and asks for a truce. And we get a cute little moment between them where Piper...
Some sort of quasi-flirting.
Yeah, where he hands her the wine, and she says, Claire Jensen, what a surprise. And he replies, last bottle. Again, it was just, like, the little back and forth between them was a little cute. And then she puts the bottle on the counter, and he tries to tell her that she has flour on her face, which results in her trying to wipe it off, but then gets frustrated before she gets it all. And she does this little, like, flustered blow of air that makes her bangs go flying.
Yeah, she, like, buried her face in her elbow a little bit.
Yeah, she, like...
And that got most of it off.
Yeah, it was funny. Like, I wish I could do little, like, video. It was cute. And so she doesn't get it all. She does the little blow of air that makes her bangs, and he just goes, perfect, and leaves.
Yep.
Just as Phoebe enters and asks if she's planning on feeding the people in the living room. And Piper says, of course, and then tries to figure out what she has that she can give them. Phoebe gestures to something off screen, asking, what's in there? And when Piper says duck medallions, we see that Phoebe is grabbing a very, very large dome-covered plate. Piper, of course, tries to stop her because that's supposed to be part of dinner, but then realizes that it's now an appetizer, and tells her to take it and says, mingle, 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 with like the little wave of the hand.
Yeah.
Which was just funny to me.
Mingle, mingle, mingle.
Go mingle. Go, go, go. And then we cut to the living room, where Claire and Beth are both sitting on the couch, and Josh seems to be sitting on the arm of the couch now. It was weird.
Gotta be casual.
Yep.
He's just joshing around.
Mm-hmm. And there's another man behind them, but we don't know who that is. There's one other guy.
There was?
Well, it's supposed to be a dinner
Is
party.
this the only time we see this other guy? I did not even notice him.
We see one more time. I'll mention that when we get there.
I literally did not even notice him.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like I wasn't paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
He was so unremarkable. I'm like, okay.
Well, he doesn't have any lines. Like, he doesn't have a name, he has no lines, and he barely has a face. But he is in the background behind the couch. But whatever. Well, yeah. Because it's supposed to be a dinner party.
Yeah.
With 5+1.
Yes.
And we only ever see 3 people, one of whom is the +1. So there's got to be 3 other people in this house that we never see.
Yeah, I think what I had assumed was that Phoebe and Prue count.
I don't think so. I don't know. Nope.
Yeah, that also makes more sense with, Claire talking about Buckland, like, high rollers and shit.
Yeah, exactly. She handed her a list of people. So that list of people wouldn't have Phoebe and Prue on it. Whatever. Beth is telling Claire that the manor has been beautifully restored and that it's really quite magnificent when Prue enters the living room wearing a long black, well, what I thought was a dress, but we learned later is actually a top and a skirt.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
See, I didn't see that either.
Yeah. I didn't realize it until later, and when we get to when I realized it, yeah. And she has now changed out her necklace for a large black beaded choker.
Yep. That's, okay, it looks like it's some kind of mesh that just folded in on itself.
Yeah, it does not look like it fits her neck very well.
No, it doesn't.
It's not attractive. It's not a good looking necklace, at least not on her.
No.
But, whatever.
And, oh Lord, her skirt has 2 slits.
Yes, it does.
One on either side.
Yes, it does.
And they're like up past the knee slits, too.
Mm-hmm.
These are some serious slits.
Indeed.
For a serious slut.
Yes. Claire acknowledges her, like, oh, wonderful, you could join us, kind of acknowledging. And then Phoebe enters with the domed plate, asking if anyone's hungry. Claire asks what they're having. Phoebe says duck medallions, and then lifts the lid to show a live duck. And she continues with sans medallions, and gives, like, an evil smile, and then everyone laughs.
Well, I think they laughed because Prue was like, my sister the magician.
Yeah.
Because she's trying to wave it off.
Exactly. She goes, it's usually a dove or a rabbit. Yeah. And then as Phoebe puts the lid back down, Prue gives her a death stare. And then Phoebe turns and walks away. It was funny. It was just one of those moments where it was like, God damn it, woman, do you not realize what you're costing me right now?
Meanwhile, the professor is totally tickled pink.
Yeah, she was laughing about it.
She's cackling.
Yeah,
like,
it was
to herself.
funny.
It's great.
Yep. And then we cut back to the kitchen, where Piper thinks she's being sabotaged because the light simmer that she wants to have happen isn't happening, because she turns the stove on and huge flames appear engulfing the pan.
Pot.
It was a pan.
It was a very shallow pot.
What
It
is
looked
it?
like. Yeah.
It looked like a pan.
It didn't... Okay, even if it had a long handle, it was like a very deep pan.
It was a deep pan, but it was
like,
a pan.
That deep.
Yeah, it was a deep pan, not a shallow pot.
I would call that a pot.
No.
Okay.
No.
Semantics.
And then Phoebe enters the kitchen and asks what the problem is. And Piper says that there's something terribly wrong with the house, and then brown, dirty water flies out of the drain in the sink. Like, squirts up, bubbling everywhere. It's bad.
And Piper turns around, and we see a shot from what is ostensibly over the sink, but there's clearly nothing there. And Piper is, like, trying to put towels in it and, like, make all the motions to show that she is stopping up that sink, baby.
Yeah. And when she turns her back, a dagger appears in Phoebe's hand. Now, it does look a little Athame-like.
It really does.
But it doesn't have a black handle, so it's just a dagger.
How does that...
I looked it up. Apparently, to be an Athame, it needs a black handle.
Seriously?
Seriously.
That's the requirement?
That's the requirement. Yep.
Then all of these websites I spent so much time on got it wrong.
Yeah. To be an Athame, it has to be a double-sided dagger with a black handle.
The fuck?
Yep.
There's no room for variation. That makes me a little sad.
Well, there is room for variation. It just has to have a black handle. That black can be anything. It can be leather, it can be stained wood, it can be,
okay, that's fair.
Ebony,
Ivory.
Yeah. It can be anything. It just has to be a black handle to be an Athame.
Okay.
I looked it up. 15 episodes later.
Maybe someone should inform Mr. Trudeau
Yes.
about that.
Yes.
I think he needs to know it for his definitions.
Yes. Anyway, Piper tells Phoebe to call a plumber and says that this is a complete and total disaster and then asks, someone just kill me now and spare me the agony of cleanup. And Phoebe, who has been creeping up on her, says, ask and you shall receive.
As she's holding up a knife.
Yep. But before she can do anything, Josh enters, asking if everything's all right.
And the knife
disappears in a poof of black smoke. And Phoebe kind of looks pissy, which I think is very funny. He sees the mess and then asks if people pay her to do this, which again made me want to punch him.
Yep.
And it apparently made Piper want to punch him as well.
And she asks Phoebe to take Mr. Congeniality.
Yeah, through gritted teeth. Out of the kitchen, and to get Prue and to tell her it's an emergency.
That's how I wrote that.
Nice.
I started off with lowercase, I went to uppercase, and then I went big uppercase.
Yep. Gotta make that font get bigger.
Because after the quasi-flirting, he's negging her.
Yeah, I just wanna...
Which, although, when was Magnolia made?
I don't know.
Because that was about some guy who runs like a pickup artist industry or whatever.
Okay.
It has Tom Cruise in it, and...
that's the only thing I know about that movie.
And... Shit, what's his face? It's Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Okay.
I haven't actually seen it yet. I need to see it because it does have a cameo from Paul F. Tompkins.
Okay.
Where he's just a voice on the phone. They originally did film him a little and then
I
deleted
did
it.
listen to that.
I was there too?
Yep,
yeah.
I did.
I was at that audience. It was fun. Because it was also with Amy Mann.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
That was on the cruise?
Yeah.
I didn't know that one was on the cruise.
Yeah, we were in the Olive or Twist.
Nice.
Which everyone referred to as 10 Forward.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
I was sitting legitimately...
I remember that episode of the podcast.
I was sitting legitimately, like, right in front of the little recording mic he had.
Very nice.
I'm just like, floor space. Yay. But yeah, that was cool. And he's like, someone get me a White Russian. And then, as it was handed to him, he remembered, wait a second, I'm not good at being on boats, and I'm slightly lactose intolerant. This is probably not a good idea. He drank it anyway. And then his face started getting red.
Yeah, there was a joke, I can't remember where I was, but this was many years ago now, where somebody said, something like, get me a White Russian, and I stood up and went, you called? It was funny. I'm only, part Russian, but it was still funny.
But yeah.
Yeah. So, then we cut to Prue and Beth walking through the house, and Beth says that there's no other house in the city quite like hers. Prue asks if it's because of the architecture, but she replies that it's because of the location.
Confirming what all real estate agents would want you to know. Location.
Yes.
As is Miss Patty's proximity to phone lines. Babette says it's all due to location. My Sally Struthers impression is not that good.
What is that from?
Gilmore Girls.
I don't remember that.
Babette is babbling to Lorelai or someone about how because Miss Patty is so close to the phone line, sometimes her phone picks up other people's conversations.
Okay. It's been a while since I've watched Gilmore
It's like
Girls.
season 1.
Yeah, it's been a very long time since
It's
I've
after
watched.
Cinnamon's Wake. Like, after that episode, I'm pretty sure. But I think that was, like, episode 5. So.
Okay. So, then we get this lovely little bit of exposition.
Exposition time.
Yes. Where Prue remembers her mentioning something about being on a spiritual nexus, and Beth says that while it's probably mythology, it's believed that when a geographical point is equidistant to the 5 spiritual elements, it's a place of great power. So
I love
pentagram.
your gestures on that.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't necessarily mean pentagram.
No, it means pentagram.
Well, okay, but we don't know that yet.
When it is equidistant of 5 spiritual elements, it's a fucking pentagram. She's talking about a fucking pentagram.
Technically, that's all points along a circle. They might not be in a pentagram. They might not. Face it, it is possible to be equidistant from 5 separate points that are not all equidistant from each other. Ish. Because think about it. A circle is a shape that all of the points on the rim are equidistant from the center focus. So technically, any 5 points on there would fulfill that.
Fine. I will allow it.
It's geometry. You have to.
I will allow it. But you know she's talking about a pentagram.
And a sphere is that in 3 dimensions.
Yes. But, so, I looked up because I couldn't remember the difference between a pentagram and a pentacle. Because I knew there wasn't a whole lot of difference. I just couldn't remember. So I looked them up.
Isn't a pentacle the one in the circle?
Yeah, that's why it's called a pentacle.
Pentacircle.
It's a pentagram in a circle, so it's a pentacle.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
That's literally where it gets that name. Yeah. But I looked up a bunch of stuff, right? So, the pentagram is a star where there's 1 point up. Where the single point is at the top. The pentacle is a pentagram in a circle. And then there's the inverted versions of both of those where it has the 2 points up at the top, like the ears on a goat. Because we all know that goats are evil.
No, the horns on the goat. The ears are the side ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, the horns.
So the inverted ones have the 2 points up, like the horns on the goat. And because we all know that goats are evil, that brings us to the sigil of Baphomet. Baphomet? I don't know exactly how to say it because I do not follow the Church of Satan.
Baphomet.
Sure. That is an inverted pentacle with the goat head inside the star, surrounded by a double circle instead of just the single one. And there's some Hebrew letters between the 2 circles. Yep, don't know. And
then the more complex version of that is what they use on Supernatural.
Yes. So, according to like 6 different websites that I looked at, the sigil of Baphomet, which is Baphomet.
Yeah, as you do.
Yeah. That's used by the Church of Satan.
Mm-hmm.
The pentacle is sometimes used by neo-pagans, and the pentagram is usually what's used by Wiccans.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. Google is awesome.
Yes, it is.
Anyway, back to the show. The lights flicker on and off. Prue thinks that there must be a power failure and apologizes for any inconvenience.
Well, the way that joke is set up, because it is set up as a joke, the professor's like, it's a source of great power, lights flicker, Prue adds
Power
failure, maybe.
Yeah.
I think it's really funny that an architecture professor is so interested in mythology.
Hey, people are
Well,
weird.
I mean, I would certain like house related mythologies, like I bet she's all up in the Winchester house.
I love the Winchester house. Have you ever been there?
No, I haven't. Where is it again?
It's in San Francisco.
Okay, yeah, that I've never been to San Francisco, so
San Jose. It's in San Jose.
I've never been there either. The only place I've been in California is Disneyland when I was a baby, so couldn't have visited, and the airport.
Well then.
I think the San Francisco airport, because we were on our way to Australia.
But yeah, I've been to the Winchester Mystery House. It's amazing.
It's so delightfully batshit.
It's really funny. If you actually think about it...
Oh, no, I agree that it makes sense in a certain light, but it's still delightfully batshit.
Oh, yeah. But, because I remember there's...
The layout is delightfully batshit. The reasoning behind it kind of makes sense.
Well...
If you believe in ghosts.
Yeah. Well, but also...
And if you believe in the reasoning behind why this would work with ghosts.
Yeah. But basically what happened is she started out a little crazy. She liked her seances... And her husband died in, 1881, I think. Hold on, let me wiki so I get the right things.
Mm-hmm. But the reason it's called the Winchester House is because they're the heir to the Winchester rifle.
Well, her name is Sarah Winchester.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
But, her family is the Winchesters that made the Winchester rifle.
Yes. The William Wirt Winchester.
Okay, internet.
Yep.
WWW.
Yep. Wirt. W-I-R-T. Wirt.
Weird middle name. Okay.
Hey, 1800s. What you gonna do? So,
have you've seen the list of Puritan names? Doesn't get weirder than that shit. Yeah, seriously, look up traditional Puritan names. You'll get a hoot.
Yep.
You'll get a hoot and a half out of it.
Absolutely. So, yeah, her husband died from tuberculosis in 1881. Love it when I'm right. She inherited more than $20.5 million. And she received nearly 50% ownership of the Winchester Repeating Arms Company, which gave her roughly an income of about $1,000 a day.
Oh, goddamn.
In the 1800s.
Oh, fucking hell.
That would be equivalent to $23,000 a day in 2013.
She's richer than Trump.
Yeah, and not as crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so her husband died of TB. She got a shit ton of money and nearly half the company. And
then was terrified that the ghosts of people killed...
No, that didn't... But
Really?
that didn't happen for a while. Yeah.
Okay.
I know, you'd think that. But it didn't happen for a little while. It was a while later that she went to a medium in Boston.
Okay.
Opposite side of the fucking world.
I'm surprised she didn't go to Long Island. You're welcome.
Anyway.
I bet that was a bit of a longer trip.
Anyway.
But no, ironically, that would have been a shorter trip. Massachusetts is further than New York.
Yeah.
From there.
Yeah. But yeah, so she had an infant daughter that also died.
Mm-hmm.
So after her kid and her husband died, she went to this medium who was supposedly channeling her late husband, saying that she should leave her home in New Haven and travel west, where she must continuously build a home for herself and the spirits of the people who had fallen victim to the Winchester rifles.
Because apparently that's her fault now.
Yeah.
And they'll be out for blood.
Ooh. Yeah. So that was what the tabloids claimed. In that time. Though, apparently, it is possible that she was just seeking a change of location and hobby during her lengthy depression, because,
Yeah, wouldn't you if you're... How old was the daughter? She was like a baby?
Yeah, it was an infant daughter.
Yeah, so if your baby and your husband are both suddenly dead, yeah, that would be depressing.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit.
A lot of it.
Uh-huh. But yeah, so in 1884, she purchased an unfurnished farmhouse in the Santa Clara Valley and began building the mansion. Carpenters were hired. They worked on the house day and night until it became a 7-story mansion. It started as a farmhouse.
Holy shit.
Yeah. She didn't use an architect. She added to the building in haphazard fashion, which is why it contains, numerous oddities such as doors and stairs that go nowhere, windows that overlook other rooms, stairs with odd-sized risers. But here's the thing. That's what's on our Wikipedia page. I can tell you some shit, because I've been there. The risers on the stairs were like 1.5 inches tall. They were stupid tiny on some, because she had arthritis and couldn't move her knees.
Oh.
So she had staircases built specifically for her to be able to go to the other parts of the house. Teeny tiny little steps. Yeah, right? Makes perfect sense.
That's like a coworker I used to have.
Okay.
He had a 2-inch stride. Like, legitimately, he was the slowest man.
Aww.
He died a few months ago from, I think, a heart attack. He was like
That's
76.
sad.
But he'd been working for the company for years and years and years. When we switched over to the new computer system to clock in, he was having so much trouble remembering how to do it. He kept this piece of paper in his pocket, folded up, that told him, that was all the instructions he needed to know to be able to clock in and clock out and like disengage the thing so you could go back in later. And then it was streamlined a little bit, so he got new instructions, and streamlined, it takes about 30 seconds.
Okay.
If you're doing it right. It'll take maybe 45 if you don't know any of the keyboard shortcuts and you don't really know where you're going. It'll take 15 if you do know all the keyboard shortcuts. And it would take him legitimately 2 minutes.
Oh.
It always took him at least 2 minutes. So whenever someone else was around, if he hadn't already started the process of actually clocking in, he would step aside and say, "Here, honey, you go."
That's nice.
Yes, it was. And so, I swear, like, we're not supposed to share our passwords or anything, but everyone knew his. because it was just easier. We could clock him in and be done. I didn't know it, so I would get him to the point where he could just type it in and hit enter.
Nice.
So, there's that.
That's nice.
Yes. And legitimately, he had a 2-inch stride. Our break is supposed to be 10 minutes, and because of, how slow he walks, we just unofficially lengthened it to 15.
Aww.
Just to accommodate for him, shuffling back and forth, and no one's bothered to change it back.
Nice.
We all just take 15.
Nice. Gotta love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the stairs that go nowhere, I admit, there was a staircase that literally just ended in ceiling.
Yeah.
But I've been to other people's houses where they have that. You know why? It's called storage.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a makeshift pantry where things are stairs. You can put things on the stairs. You can walk up the stairs to get the stuff at the top.
Oh, this is true.
It made perfect sense. Maybe not where it was in the house, but it makes perfect sense as a logical thing. Yeah. As for doors that go no place, there are 2 doors in the house that are the polar opposite doors. There's one that is the smallest doorway where it leads to an inch worth of space. And there is one that is the longest doorway where you open it and it literally leads shotgun style to the entire rest of the house. Okay. So here's the thing. And this is pure speculation, but logical speculation. The one that leads through the entire house, well, heat rises. There was no air conditioning in the 1800s. So you'd open the windows to let the breeze through. So why not have a door that opens to the house to let the breeze through? It makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
And as for the inch space one, the smallest door, whatever, that's probably where she left notes for the staff. Or that's maybe where the blueprints for, whatever scribble drawing that she had made for that day of this is what you're building today, that's where that went. And then it got closed behind a door so it didn't get blown away in the wind because the other door was fucking open. It makes logical sense if you think about it for a minute and stop trying to put a ghost story to it.
You seem very passionate
I
about this.
am. I have thought a lot about this.
I have not.
I have a lot.
Can't you stay overnight there now? Or no, don't they have a cafe or something attached?
Yeah, there's a little, gift shop cafe
And I remember
thing.
seeing a story about them trying to get a liquor license.
Yeah. I don't know if they did, but yeah.
I think they did. Who's going to deny them a liquor license?
Oh, you'd be amazed.
It's such a tourist spot.
Yeah, but you'd be amazed. The part that was the craziest part is that before the 1906 earthquake, the house had been 7 stories high. And then the earthquake hit, and now the building is only 4 stories high.
Oh.
The house is made of redwood because she liked the wood as a good building block, but she hated the look of it. So she literally made them put on a faux grain and stain. Yeah, it's very funny. That's why most of the wood in the house is covered. There was over 20,000 gallons of paint used to paint the house. And because the house was built on a floating foundation, that's what actually saved it from total collapse in the 1906 earthquake and the 1989 earthquake. Mm-hmm. So there you go.
I'm pretty sure that's standard code for earthquake zones.
Well,
even then they would have known earthquakes were probably more likely to happen.
Right.
And if she's got the best people building this fucking house, most likely they're thinking, oh, well, she wants this to last. We know earthquakes happen. We should probably do something. Granted, it was probably a pretty rudimentary floating foundation. They've been updating the mechanics of how to build a better floating foundation.
Yeah.
For California, basically.
Yeah.
And it's pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah. Now, I do admit, the woman was a little crazy.
Yeah.
I will give that. There was only one working toilet in the entire house. All other toilets were decoys to confuse spirits. Yeah. And she slept in a different room every night, again, to confuse the spirits. But I do have to admit, because I know that after the 1906 earthquake, she blocked off an entire section of the house and was like, done. We're not working there anymore. We're going over here. Because she went a little crazy. Well, but the reason she went a little crazy is because she got locked in her room because of the earthquake.
Oh, no.
Wouldn't you go a little crazy if you've been stuck in your room and you can't get out and you think that there are spirits after you already and now you're locked in your room?
Yeah.
You'd be terrified. So she locked up that side of the house and was like, okay, that side's done. We're going on to something else now. I mean, it makes perfect sense. Mm-hmm. There is one, I think it was her main bedroom, had a door that led directly outside.
Yeah.
There's no balcony, there's no nothing. Well, again, if you're thinking logically, there's plenty of reasons that could be there. 1, they either hadn't put the balcony in. 2, the balcony used to be there, and then there was an earthquake, and so the balcony isn't there anymore, because it's just a little bit jutting off the side of the house. Could have just been like a Juliet balcony, something small. 3, right now it's over a driveway, so there could have been something like that under there before. So therefore it would be, not necessarily a jump out and jump onto the horse kind of situation, but like...
But wouldn't that be fun?
That would be funny. But like, where do you put your trash? Just open the door, sweep it out. Who knows? There's so many logical reasons besides just crazy,
There is also crazy.
Oh, there's absolutely crazy, but yeah.
Okay, we should probably move on from this extremely long tangent.
Yeah. Look up Winchester Mystery House on Wiki. Read it. If you can get to San Jose and go see it, it is an awesome site. It's a lot of fun. So back to the show. We get the power failure line. She apologizes for any inconvenience. And then Phoebe walks up to them, tells Prue that Piper needs her in the kitchen, and she'll take very good care of the guests. Prue walks to the kitchen, which I believe she had a little rolling of the eyes moment before she left. And then Phoebe offers Beth the grand tour of the house. And we cut to the kitchen,
where Piper is sitting on the floor, flailing her arms and legs, having an adorable little adult tantrum.
Yes, it was super funny.
So cute.
Yeah. And as Prue walks in, she
like throws flour in the air or something because it's on the floor in front of her.
Yeah, it was great. Prue asks if she isn't the same girl who said, and I quote, "Everything will be fine," and she helps her up to the floor. Piper just replies, "Yep," and then elaborates that it's not fine. She's not sure why, but she thinks the house is possessed. And Prue's like, no, it's just Phoebe and her new powers. Piper tries to argue, but then the sink starts gurgling behind her, and she realizes that she can't really think of another option. Claire enters, and the duck walks past her, and she jumps.
You get a really funny shot of the duck walking past, presumably her legs, with her chunky heels and her short skirt. And you see, like, her legs do kind of a wave, like, jumping off of the thing, like she does a hop step.
Yeah.
Well, Claire yelps, and then holds up a single finger, and says very restrainedly, "Prue, can we go and talk?" And she does this fake little smile, like, I'm trying to be polite in front of your sister.
Yeah.
But this is very serious, and I am peeved.
Yes. And Prue says that she'll be out in a second, and then turns back and asks Piper what they should do. And Piper is so flustered that she's stuttering. It's kind of adorable. She doesn't know what to do, but she knows that now, she can't cook in the kitchen, but it's too late to make it at Quake. So Prue's like, we should end this now before it gets any worse. And then she asks Piper to be her wingman, which is just kind of funny. And Piper rips her apron off, throws it behind her, and they walk out of the kitchen.
And I'm pretty sure it lands on the range.
Yeah, probably. They walk out of the kitchen through the dining room, and then we stay in the dining room for a moment, and Beth and Phoebe walk in via the dining room into the kitchen. And then we see Beth saying, I don't really need to see the basement. And Phoebe's like, are you kidding?
It's the best part of the house.
And they walk into the basement with Beth going first.
Yes, after you.
And then we cut to the foyer, where Claire has decided to be a bit bitchy, saying that as hostess, sometimes it's healthful to be present at a party.
Which she had literally just left the party.
Out. Yeah.
To go talk to Piper.
Yeah. Exactly. Prue apologizes and says that she's cutting the evening short, and Piper chimes in that they're experiencing some technical difficulties. And Claire wants to know, if she realizes what she's doing. And Prue says, yes, that she's doing it just in time.
Piper says to all of them that there is a table waiting for all of you at Quake.
On the house. And she goes, there is?
There will be.
Yeah, it was super cute. Piper asks where Phoebe is, and Josh starts to say that he thinks she's giving the professor a tour, and then the professor appears, finishing that thought of, that she was on a tour, that she was shown the bedrooms, the solarium, and she found the basement particularly intriguing. Yeah. Prue asks if she's okay. Beth replies that she's fine, and so Prue's like, well, dinner's been changed to somewhere else. Claire then brushes past Josh,
to fawn over the professor.
Apologizing for her not getting to spend more time in the house. But Beth says that her time was well spent. And this is the best part. As Claire walks Beth toward the door, she's literally got her hand on her back and is like pushing her toward the door. It's very funny. We see two other people by the door. It's a guy and a girl. He opens the door. They walk out. So this must be part of the three people from the dinner party that were never given names or faces.
Or lines. But
still...
Or actual, much screen time. So little screen time that I did not notice them.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I only noticed them because of the way that I watch this show, as in I watch, I rewind, I watch again moments, you know? So like I said, I think it's interesting that they tell us that it's 5+1
And
people.
they never show the other people.
Yeah.
They didn't even need to have it be 5+1.
Exactly. It could have just been Claire.
Well, it could have just been Claire, the professor, and Josh.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
legitimately fine. Like, if Phoebe is joining in on the dinner, helping serve it and whatnot, and Prue has to be hostess, so she's, like, got to be at the table, that is 4 people originally, and then add Josh as the +1.
Yeah.
Or, hang on.
Yeah.
No, that's...
Well,
Yeah,
Josh, Josh was the +1, so
that would make 5.
Yeah.
And that's about what that dining room table can handle.
Yeah, well,
It could handle up to 8, I think, if you get the leaves.
yeah, I don't
But
know.
right now it's set up for 6.
I don't know. Like I said, it was just weird to me that they're like, yes, there's going to be 6 people, and then we only ever see 3 of them. Yeah. Whatever. So she's pushing Beth toward the door. Prue is now adding a matching sweater to her outfit, and Piper has put on her tan jacket. And they all walk outside, and Piper closes the door behind them as Claire is telling Prue that she's looking forward to hearing her explanation of tonight's event, and then asks if she needs a ride, to which Prue says that she has to tie up a few loose ends at the house and that she'll try to make it.
And Claire
tells
says,
her,
try hard.
Yeah. And then
She
leaves.
does, like, there's a tone with it, too.
Yeah.
She's like, try hard.
Yeah. And then she leaves and Josh follows behind. Now, here's my thing, right? She's looking forward to hearing the explanation of tonight's event. The explanation is, we just had a fucking earthquake and my kitchen is dying.
Yeah.
What more explanation do you want?
Well, it's Claire, so.
Just saying.
Claire would have preferred that Prue never agreed to it in the first place, rather than
No, because...
cancel while they're already... Well,
No.
It strikes me as a stupid personality thing. Like, granted, it is bad writing, and they could have just said... Like, Prue could have just explained it with, oh, hey, it looks like the earthquake did more damage to the house than we anticipated, blah-de-da-de-da.
Yeah, so we can do a tour of the house and then go have dinner real quick.
Yeah, that would have been great. But of course they didn't know that that was going to happen, so meh.
Yeah. But so then Piper asks, now what? And Prue's like, interrogation. And then Phoebe opens the door and stands in the doorway and asks if they're looking for her. And Prue's like, why are you doing this? And Phoebe replies, because he asked me to. In that, weird,
Possessed way.
far-off voice thing. Piper asks who asked her to, and Phoebe just stares at her. And then Prue gets all, tough girl, big sister moment, and walks up the stairs, and is like, we need to talk.
But when she hits the doorway, she indeed hits the doorway.
She hits the doorway, we have the electricity preventing her from entering, she flies backwards.
She supposedly flies backward straight, but then when we see the shot of her having landed, she's on the grass next to the sidewalk.
Yeah, she should have landed on the stairs and broken her back, but that's neither here nor there. So, freeze frame was not a thing they thought about when they did this show. So this is when we can see that her outfit is not a dress, it's a shirt and skirt, but she's not wearing a bra.
Of course she's not.
And her nipples are visible in the bright light of the electricity. I took pictures. You're welcome.
Oh my god. Give me that.
I went freeze frame. There's 4 of them.
That's great.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Yep. Very visible nips.
Yep.
We really do talk about boobs every time.
We really do. That's because they make it so easy.
And periods just about every time.
And
it hasn't been mentioned yet, except now. But
no, periods isn't nearly as much.
It's pretty often, though.
Boobs is nearly every episode.
I'm pretty sure boobs is every episode.
Yeah.
Someone do a boob count.
Somebody else, because I'm not going to go back and listen.
And I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Absolutely. And then
Piper goes to Prue lying on the grass.
Yep.
And is like,
ask her if she's okay.
And then looks up at Phoebe and she's like, Phoebe, what's wrong with you?
Yeah. Why won't you let us in? And then Phoebe does that little timid thing of like, you can't, you shouldn't. And then
hardens up and says, you don't live here anymore.
And then the demon voice.
Yes. The vocoder voice comes out and it says, He does.
Yeah. And then she closes the door with 2 fingers and a smile, like the way that Prue closes the door with her power, where she's not touching the door, she's just 2 fingers in the air, flicks the fingers and the door closes, and we go to commercial break.
Yep.
Because
we do.
Because we do. Because commercials are a thing. And when we come back,
It is morning.
it is indeed morning, and Piper and Prue are sitting huddled up on the step. It's kind of funny.
Yeah. And I think, is Prue wearing Piper's jacket? Because Piper's not wearing her jacket.
No, Piper had her jacket in her lap,
Oh, okay.
and Piper is reading a paper. So we now know that they've been out there long enough for the paper to have been delivered. Prue says that they've been up all night, and they've tried everything, and wonders if their powers can't get them into the house, what can?
Apparently, they didn't try everything, because Piper walks up to the house, sees a brick lying on the sidewalk,
A la convenience.
and throws it at the front window.
Mm-hmm.
The lightning bounces it cleanly off.
Yep, prevents it from breaking, which was unhelpful.
Very.
Yep. And Prue says that she got shocked when she walked through the front door. Piper says that she did too, and wonders if that's when this all started. Prue then asks her to define this, and says that their house has turned against them, and so has their sister. But Piper says that this is more than just Phoebe, and reminds Prue that Phoebe said that he told her to do this. So who is he, and what does he want with Phoebe? Prue says that maybe the problem is that they've been focusing on Phoebe, but that the point might actually be the location.
Yes.
Yeah. She says that whatever has the house has Phoebe too, and it's not letting them in for a reason. Piper, of course, now realizes that they can't get to the Book of Shadows to find out what it is, and so thinks that they know nothing. But Prue reminds her that there is someone who knows the house better than they do, and tells her to come on. And then we cut to inside the house, where Phoebe is now wearing silk pants and a top...
Silvery silk pant, like a steel gray.
The outfit looked like it was kind of in a shade of bluish purple, where like it's blue in one scene and purple in another. Like it was.
It kind of shifted, like the arms of the shirt are 3/4 length and are sheer and have some kind of like blue glittery pattern.
Yeah, there was a interesting pattern.
But she's got the phone and she's walking through the house and there is literally wallpaper peeling off the wall.
Yep, and the windows are shattering.
The windows to the solarium are shattering.
Yep.
She is apparently calling a pizza place to order a pizza, and they're closed, so she's like, well, whenever you do open.
Yeah.
But the way she opens it is great. She's like, I would like a pizza to be delivered to my house. Okay.
Sure. Well, she doesn't care what's on it as long as someone delivers it.
And no pizza delivery place would actually take that order.
Yeah, that's when you just say cheese. Just order a cheese pizza. Like,
yes.
How is this hard for you, woman? Whatever. But
whatever her goal is, this is not going to accomplish it.
Yeah, well...
And she's, like, leaning against the banister, sexily or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, okay, the only other direction I could see this going with a pizza place is...
Brown chicken, wow, wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Brown chicken, brown cow.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's only two...
Like, someone is trying to set up a porn situation. That's not going to work.
Yeah.
Because you don't get to control what delivery boy you get.
Very true. But I don't think she cares.
No, she doesn't.
As long as someone delivers it. Now, here's the thing. She then gives the address
as
1329 Prescott Street, hereby making the comments I said about the missing cat posters having the wrong address correct. Just saying.
Again, technically they hadn't decided. There's only 2 mentions of the address at this point in the series. Either one could be wrong. And in fact, both of them are, as we'll see in a few minutes.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah. She says she'll be waiting, and we see the picture of Graham's, which is now the right way up, and it starts to glow
in the middle and bursts into flame.
Yeah. And then we cut to a shot of many people walking with umbrellas. Apparently.
There's stairs, there's some buildings,
yeah.
And we're led to believe this is the university because you see police escorting the professor down the steps. She's kind of struggling.
Yeah, well, she's being dragged away by police and campus security. Yeah. She is wearing black pants and a dark patterned top. It's a very interesting outfit. Yeah, but this is supposed to be apparently Berkeley University, which the actual Berkeley is only a 25-minute drive on the I-80 west from San Francisco.
This is true.
I looked it up because I'm me. Piper and Prue show up a la convenience just in time to see her get taken away.
They've got an umbrella.
They're walking up arm in arm.
With an umbrella.
With a very large umbrella that she didn't have before. And now here's my other question.
It was probably in a car.
How did they get there? They didn't have their purses with them. So, like, Prue's outfit didn't have pockets. So unless Piper had her car keys and her wallet on her, I'm calling shenanigans.
She might have had her car keys in her jacket.
It's the only thing. I like, because we find out a little later they were in Piper's car. Because they were in the little Jeep thing.
Yeah.
They weren't in Prue's car. But I'm saying it's all a la convenience.
Yeah. It is.
Still
It
call it
always is.
shenanigans.
No one gets this nitpicky. Not with this show, not with the production.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think they probably can't afford to be that picky.
I guess.
They don't exactly have the budget for it yet. Just look at their CGI.
Yeah, well, but the CGI in the 90s wasn't that great to begin with, so.
True.
Yeah. So Piper sees Josh.
And asks
and
him
asks
what
what
happened.
And they start walking in the same direction that Beth was being taken. And Josh is wearing a leather jacket over a blue cable knit sweater with a white colored shirt underneath and dark blue pants. And he says that he doesn't know, but that the professor had just begun her seminar when she turned and suddenly started choking him.
And he kind of rubs his neck.
Yeah.
Like it's
And
a
that
little bit sore.
One of the students had to pull her off of him. Piper asks if he's okay.
She says, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And when he turns to her, he's like a little...
They have like a little flirty eye thing happening.
He has a little flirty eye thing.
Well,
she is just asking because he just says he was almost choked to death.
Yeah.
And she's concerned.
Yeah.
And he decides to take this in a completely non-platonic way.
Yeah, well, He says that he's okay, but that he doesn't know why she snapped like that. And then Prue asks if he knows anything about the whole spiritual nexus thing that Beth was telling Claire, even though Beth was telling that to Prue.
Well, that's probably just
Weird.
Prue trying to find a better in with Josh. Because then she says that, when Claire gets her claws into something, she never lets go.
Yeah.
And Josh is like, I know
I've
a
met
few...
people like that.
And pointedly looks at Piper.
Yeah. And you can tell, even though they're in a wide shot, you can tell that Piper rolls her eyes. It was very funny.
Yeah.
It was very, very funny. But Josh was apparently surprised that she brought that up because she usually doesn't go in for that metaphysical mythology. What?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a weird thing. Yeah. And then we get him with exposition time, telling us, again, the spiritual nexus is the point of incredible energy. And Prue chiming in with the equidistant 5 elements thing. And Josh then says that the place or thing could be swayed either way, and Piper questions him by what he means by that. And he says that it could either be a source for undeniable good or undeniable evil. And then he says that he's going to follow Beth, who's shown being put into the back of a cop car with no real discernible markings as to where that cop car is from, but I'm fairly certain it was the Los Angeles Police Department's cop cars. Just saying. Yep. And he said...
They made quite a long drive for that, then.
A little bit. He says that, he's going to follow Beth to make sure she's okay, but that they can feel free to browse around the office if they think it'll help.
Not like she's got anything personal up in there. Yeah,
but
it's just super weird to just be like, hey, sure, go in my boss's office and root around a little while.
Yeah, like, what do they think is going to help in the office? Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
But, so we jump cut to the office.
Yes,
where
a huge fucking office.
Yeah, it's, like, insane big.
Yeah. Because it's got all of these, like, architectural files and maps. Like, there's a bunch of huge-ass drawers where she's keeping blueprints or some shit. You see her desk in one corner. You don't quite see the other corner, but we find out later that's where Josh's desk is.
Mm-hmm.
And Piper's, like, looking at some maps, and Prue's talking about, I forget what, in the background.
She says that to find a way back in, they have to know what they're up against. And then she repeats the equidistant thing. And we learn that the elements are earth, fire, water, wood, and metal.
And Piper has brought a poster-boarded map over to a big table in the center of the room.
With an adorable okie dokie. Which was great.
She points to where the manor would be, and
Prue puts on a green dot.
And, okay, now, where they show this, you can kind of, if you freeze frame, we took a picture of where she puts that, and it is next to Hayward Playground, or something Playground. And,
Hayward Playground.
Jefferson Park.
Jefferson Square.
Jefferson Square. That is not, in fact, 1329 Prescott Street. Ladies and gentlemen, that is 1120 Turk Street.
Yep, it is at the corner of Turk Street and Laguna Street in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
So even though the address in the show has now been told as 1329 Prescott Street, there is no Prescott on the map anywhere near where they put that dot.
Nope.
There isn't even a Prescott Street in San Francisco. There is a Prescott Court, which is about 15 minutes northeast of where that dot has been placed on the map.
Okay, now, I spent a lot of time looking at that freeze frame, and I could not see where it said Turk Street. Does it? Oh, okay, never mind. Oh, I was looking at a different frame. That's why.
Turk.
Yeah.
Yeah. I freeze framed and made sure it was right before
they needed to cover their tracks. Like, they could have easily put, like, a sticker over there that said
They could have
Prescott.
made their own map.
They could have.
Just saying.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Instead, they chose to not.
Yeah, and in reality, the manor is at 1329 Carroll Avenue in Echo Park in Los Angeles. Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of those where they figured out where they needed their little star to go, and then they figured out what was in the middle of it, and that's where they put the dot.
Yeah.
But they should have covered their tracks a little better, because even on not freeze frame, you can tell that they're putting down that dot on the corner of a street. First of all, their house is not on a corner.
Yeah.
And they're putting it between Turk and Laguna.
Yep.
You could have changed the street names on the map. I mean, it really wouldn't have been that hard.
Whatever. At any rate, Piper has found a string. Prue has somehow found stickers.
Yeah.
They've been in there for all of 3 seconds.
Well, we don't know how long they've been there,
this is
to
true.
be fair, because we jump cut to them there looking at the map. So we don't know how long they've actually been there. So they get the house being wherever the house is supposed to be. And then Prue says that the bay counts for water, so she puts a dot there.
Piper's using the string to form a sort of compass.
Yeah. Piper asks about the natural hot springs, which Prue says works for fire. Not really sure why that works for fire, because it's water.
Yeah, the hot springs are heated by magma usually.
Okay, fine.
There's heat involved.
Fine.
It was probably the only thing they could find that would count.
Yes. Prue then asks about wood, and comes up with the park that their mom used to take them to, which was called Kenwood.
Which is apparently, right on the shore.
Mm-hmm. And Piper, for some reason, tells us that it was named after the type of tree that grew there when it was still a forest. Why we needed that little line, I honestly don't know.
Okay, so we have
water, we have fire, and we have wood.
And then
Prue asks about Earth.
What was the Earth?
Piper says,
Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks, which is the highest point in the city. Yeah.
And then Prue's like, and metal. And Piper goes, Tiffany's.
Yeah. And Prue and I both thought that was a cute answer. But they need a natural metal, so then she asks where they went for their 4th grade field trip when they panned for gold.
Which is a very, very, very weak association with metal.
Well, no, because gold is a metal. I get that. I mean, it makes...
It's a little weak, because, they probably seed that river for the kids. Let's face it.
I guess.
They probably do.
Probably. But, whatever. Piper...
Because goodness knows, if it's a gold panning area, it's been panned clean by now.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, so they've been adding gold there. So,
but that doesn't mean that there wasn't gold there originally.
You can't necessarily manufacture a hot springs.
Right, but that doesn't necessarily mean that there wasn't gold there originally, and so therefore it would count for gold. So I'm kind of okay with it. Mm-hmm. But so Piper points to a place, and they put a dot. They don't tell us where it is. For some reason, they don't give us any info about that one. But
she's like, where did we go for the 4th grade field trip? And she's like, oh, nah.
Yeah, but we don't. But the point is that we learned that Kenwood Park was named after the trees that were there when it was a forest. But we don't get any name for where she puts the dot for where they panned for gold. It was just a little weird.
Well, we learned that they panned for gold there.
Yeah,
at their 4th grade field trip.
Yeah, it was just a little weird for me. But so they put a dot. I looked at the map where they placed it, and they placed the dot on Mountain Lake Park. Mm-hmm. Case you were wondering. Then Prue joins the dots with a dry erase marker, and it turns into a star. And that's when Piper says that their house was built in the center of a pentagram.
Yes.
And Prue realizes...
The resolution is not good. Really not good.
Yeah, no, not at all.
But you can see that the center dot is indeed the same place. Mm-hmm. And it looks like Kenwood Park and the Bay are the correct places for the equidistant, but you can't really tell. I think I see Twin Peaks here. Thank you, Blue. I see Twin Peaks here as being one of the spots, but I can't tell about the other two. And based on where Piper was holding the string, those spots were not completely equidistant. But, give a little leeway, because...
Right.
Really, you only need 3 of them to be fairly equidistant, and then you can manufacture the other 2.
But that's why I say I really think that they built the pentagram where they needed it, and then they found the dot in the middle.
Yeah.
Because it's the only thing that makes sense.
This is true.
I still say they could have put in a name on a
Indeed.
street. But I digress. So Prue realizes that it's not just on a spiritual nexus, but a Wiccan one as well, which apparently means that it's a battleground for good and evil. Piper asks what happens when evil gets the house, and Prue replies that it spreads. She says that they'd have to check the Book of Shadows to be sure, but she's sure that the reason why their family built the house there was to reclaim the spot for good, and Piper then thinks that evil wants it back. Prue agrees and says that it's taking Phoebe with it. And then we cut back to the manor. And Daryl and Andy drive up, and as they get out of the car, Daryl asks why it feels like they live there, which I'm assuming is a joke because they've been there, twice in as many hours. Mm-hmm. And Andy is in a black suit today with a light gray shirt and blue pattern tie. And Daryl is in a dark gray suit, blue shirt, and red tie. I didn't see the pattern, but it was there. Mm-hmm. And across the road, they see two neighbors fighting and metal garbage bins being tossed about. And Andy asks Daryl which one he wants. And Daryl replies he'll take the fighting neighbors for a change of scenery.
Because do we live here?
Mm-hmm. Andy says he'll meet him back at the car, and he starts to go to the door. And then we jump cut to him at the door, because we're doing a lot of jump cuts today. And Phoebe opens the door just as Andy was going to knock and greets him with a sexy, "Hello, Inspector."
And my interpretation of his reaction is, "Hello, Phoebe, I'm not used to seeing you with eyeliner."
Yeah. Well, he starts to say something, and she cuts him off by saying that she thinks there might be a gas leak, and she's home all alone.
And kind of, like, strokes the door jam.
Yeah, it was, like, weird. It was super, super weird. But if Andy thinks anything's wrong, he doesn't say anything. So she asks if he can take a look. He says sure, walks inside. She says it's in the basement, and then she stares at his butt as he walks away. And the door closes by itself, and then we cut to Prue and Piper getting out of Piper's car in front of the manor. As I wrote in my notes, Piper must have had her keys then. I'm still calling a la convenience shenanigans. They walk over to Daryl, who is still talking to the neighbors, and we learn that one of the neighbors came out of the Halliwell Manor, walked over, and then started throwing things. And Piper makes a joke to Daryl about being there for neighborhood watch, and he tells her that the professor was brought into the station house and wasn't feeling too well after spending the night before at their house. And Prue asks if she's okay, and Daryl says that she's not at the moment, and she's under observation. And then one of the neighbors pushes the other neighbor, and we get the one doing the pushing is named Paul, and he's a Valentine Janicki for sure. His name is Michael Mantell.
Yeah, I've seen him in fucking everything.
He has been in a bunch of random stuff, including an episode of Gilmore Girls, which I thought was very funny. I looked it up.
I'm trying to remember which one.
He played Fred Larson in A Tale of Pose and Fire.
Oh, yes, that was it.
There you go. I didn't look anything else up about our neighbor Paul, but I just thought it was very funny because I was like, what is his name? He's been in a lot of stuff. So, there you go.
He's probably been in at least one Disney Channel movie.
I don't think so.
He seems like the type of person who would be, though. You know what I mean? Like the quintessential dad figure.
Maybe. He was on an episode of How I Met Your Mother.
No, that would have been it.
No. He was in a TV show called State of Grace, and he was on 2 episodes of The West Wing playing 2 different characters. I thought that was kind of funny. He was on Lizzie McGuire for 2 episodes.
Yep, that's probably it.
There you go. All right. Now that we figured that out.
Would he have been the dad?
He was
the
Howard
best friends?
Gordon.
Yeah, Gordo's dad.
There you go.
I'm so glad I remembered that.
Sure. I never watched Lizzie McGuire religiously at all. I think I've maybe seen 2 episodes of the entire show.
It wasn't really religious for me. It was just fun enough, and so I watched a lot. I don't even know if I saw every episode, but I definitely watched the movie.
The one that I watched a lot was Wizards of Waverly Place. I can't get away from the witches, alright? I just can't do it. They were wizards, but, same
magic.
difference. Yeah, magic-y stuff.
Oh my god, Lizzie McGuire had some fucking iconic hairstyles. Like, there was one where half of her hair was straight, a bunch of it was crimped, and then what wasn't crimped was curled. Like, there were random... It was, oh my god, 2001 teeny bopper hairstyles. Awesome. There was so much, like, random crimping going on.
Well, yeah.
It was great.
It's because in the early aughts, people remembered the stuff from the 80s. It's usually what happens.
See, I feel like we're more in the 80s now.
Well, yeah. The 80s have definitely made a bigger comeback now, but they were kind of... Bits and pieces were showing up in the aughts.
Well, also, crimping would have been a thing during the 70s, wouldn't it?
Not really. Not to the same extent.
Okay.
The 80s, it was like, if your hair wasn't crimped, you were weird.
Oh, yeah. And then there was teasing, and then weird shit girls do with bangs.
Yeah. So we learned that Paul is pushing people, whatever, and Daryl says that he's occupied, but that Andy would like to ask them a few questions, and that he's inside their house. And then Prue and Piper walk back over to the manor via jump cut. I said there's a lot of jump cuts in this episode.
Hank would be proud.
Mm-hmm. And Piper realizes that if Andy is in the house and Paul was in the house, then there has to be some way for them to get in. And Prue says that she hopes so, because otherwise there's no way for them to get to the Book of Shadows. And then the door opens, and we see Andy. And so they
Piper
hide
and Prue
behind a bush.
Yeah, they jump out of the path of sight and over in front of the picture window under a bush. And they're kind of standing there waiting, and Prue keeps telling Piper, okay, freeze him.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, wait.
Yeah.
And so Andy finishes, like, talking to Phoebe or whatever he was doing that kept him from glancing behind him at the door, and turns to walk through the door, at which point Piper finally freezes him, and then turns to Prue and says, the house is letting him out. This is the only time its guard is down. And Prue's like, you're brilliant. Piper says, I know.
No, it was good point. Thank you. I wrote that down because I thought that was funny.
Oh, I thought she said, you're brilliant.
Nope, it was good point. Thank you.
Okay, yes, but it was very well reasoned on Piper's point.
Yeah, it was adorable. So they walk inside, and we see that Phoebe is frozen as well, which
is
Piper
alarming.
is happy about for a moment, and then Prue reminds her that good witches don't freeze, and that they need to get her back.
They've lost her, we need to get her back, and then they run up the stairs.
But before they actually get out of sight, because you hear them run up the first set of stairs, and so that means that they have hit the curve on the stairs when
Phoebe unfreezes, and then suddenly the sound of their footsteps
disappears.
Edited out.
Yep, it's gone. You know, Andy leaves, she shuts the door, she turns around and smiles, and a la convenience is the reason she doesn't see them. Because either that, or she does see them and just pretends that she didn't see them.
Something like that. I don't know.
Because there's literally no way she
There's
shouldn't
several moments
have.
in this episode where that keeps happening.
Yeah. So then we cut back to outside, where the two neighbors are still yelling at each other. And Daryl is trying
holding
to stop
them apart with his arms, trying to keep them at least at arm's length.
Yeah.
And I think Paul's yelling about how the other neighbor keeps, like, putting his garbage cans on the driveway. And
yeah, I don't know what they were yelling about. I don't remember. But Andy walks up to them, and Daryl asks for his help, and Andy gets out his gun and goes to shoot. Daryl throws him on the ground, grabs his gun, and is like, what the hell was that?
He was clearly going to shoot the non-possessed neighbor, too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And Andy looks like he has, like, come out of a daze, and he's like, I have no idea. And then we cut to the attic, where Prue is looking through the Book of Shadows.
And Piper is getting in her 10,000 steps.
Yeah, she's walking in circles around Prue and the book, and it's just funny. And in my notes I wrote, good thing the attic can't be heard from the basement, right? Piper tells her to look faster, which I thought was kind of funny.
Maybe she should walk faster. Mm-hmm. Turn back time.
Yeah. And Prue says that there's nothing in the book, and that they don't even know what they're fighting. And Piper says that they're fighting their sister, which I thought was kind of funny. And Prue says that it's more than that. And then she stops Piper from walking in circles and tells her, when in doubt, start at the beginning. And she asks what happened first. And Piper says the gas man attacked her. And Prue's like, before that. And Piper's like, the earthquake, which is why the gas man was here to check the leak in the basement. And then Prue remembers that before the professor freaked out, she took a tour of the house, including the basement. And Piper gives out a little, ooh. And Prue comes back with, noises don't help. Which is like such sisters, these two. I love it. Piper remembers that Phoebe's been in the basement, and Prue, who is catching what she's throwing, says it was just a story, and Piper reminds her that they've seen some monsters and demons from the past and the future, and wonders why Prue can be so sure that Phoebe's childhood monster isn't real, because Phoebe swore that she saw something in the basement, and that's when Graham started telling them the story of how to destroy it. Piper remembers that there was an earthquake that night, too, and thinks that that might be how it gets out. And Prue realizes that they've been looking in the wrong place by searching the Book of Shadows because the answer is in Graham's story.
Which neither of them remember, as it turns out.
Yeah.
And they spend a little time yelling at each other about the fact that neither of them remembers.
Yeah. Because Piper realizes that it wasn't a story, it was a spell. And they don't really remember, neither of them does, but Prue remembers that it was sort of like a rhyme that sounded like a children's song.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And Piper starts walking toward the door, saying that they'd better figure it out fast or they're gonna have a whole lot.
Opens the door where
Mid-sentence.
Phoebe is.
Yeah.
Phoebe turns, grabs her shoulders, and throws
her outside, walks in the attic, closes and locks the door behind her with the key that was there, a la convenience.
Like, okay, I don't really understand why you wouldn't have the key on the outside so you could lock the attic door and leave, like, your valuables and shit up there.
Yeah.
That makes more sense to me, but,
Yep.
you know, I like convenience.
Mm-hmm. Piper bangs on the door, shouting for Prue, and a machete appears in Phoebe's hand. Phoebe asks if Prue has any fantasies about how she wants to die.
Not by machete.
Which, to my legit answer would have been like, yes, old age, go away. But, you know, just me being mean. Prue tries to get Phoebe to realize that this isn't her, which gets a give the girl a prize line, which is kind of funny. And Piper is still calling for Prue and, banging on the door like this entire time. And Prue's trying to convince Phoebe that whoever's doing this to her hasn't completely beaten her or they'd already be dead. Yeah, but Phoebe doesn't seem convinced. Piper's now calling for Phoebe while banging on the door. And Prue tells Phoebe that she was stronger than him, but Phoebe said that she wasn't. That's why he chose her.
And now
we get the demon voice.
Now she's
stronger than you. Yeah. And then she gets ready to swing the blade.
But Prue throws her with her powers.
Yep.
Because, as we've established, her powers now work on her sister like that.
Exactly. And then she magics open the door, and she and Piper run down the stairs. Piper opens the front door. Prue asks where she's going, and Piper's like, it's not just Phoebe we're fighting, it's the house, it's everything. Prue tries to stop her, but Piper walks through the doorway, and the electricity makes her fly through the air.
And land on the floor.
And there's a moment in freeze frame
where her nips are visible.
Nope, but you can see the carabiner on her back that's pulling her. So I have freeze frame.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Of the lightning, all of those lovelinesses, and then as she's being pulled backwards...
Oh my gosh, that's great.
You can see the carabiner.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Gotta love it. But yeah, so she hits the ground hard, and Prue comes over and asks if she's okay. And
she says, ow.
Piper's like, no. And then she says that, neither is Prue because they're locked in the house and their sister's trying to kill them.
And then
the door closes, and we get a push in on Prue's face.
We get a push on Prue's face. That's a reused reaction shot from seeing Piper going toward the door.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's weird.
And then we have a commercial break.
Yeah.
Which I think is the last commercial break of the episode.
It is.
And then we get a very interesting shot as we come back from commercial, where it's an exterior manor shot, but it's coming up over a bush. It was a very interesting
Laura
choice.
Jeb.
Barbara. And Prue and Piper are in the Wicker Room, as I'm now lovingly calling it, talking about how the answer must be in Graham's Woogie Man story, but neither of them remembers it, and Prue says they have to keep trying, and we cut to the attic, where Phoebe comes to, because she had apparently gotten knocked unconscious.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't think to tie her up, or even close the attic door. Nope, they ran, completely just left her alone, and whatever. She gets up, heads downstairs. She stops halfway when she hears Prue and Piper talking about a way out, and hears them saying that the only way to help Phoebe is from the inside. And she smiles.
Goes the rest of the way down the stairs and turns to go into the kitchen. Now here's my question.
Mm-hmm.
They're standing in the solarium.
Mm-hmm.
Piper's back is to the dining room, the immediately adjacent room. Prue's is not, and Prue is within full sight of the dining room.
Mm-hmm.
So not only would Phoebe have seen them, Prue would have seen Phoebe.
Unless, because we don't see them in the solarium.
Well, granted,
so
there's not a lot of...
she could have been looking away, she could have been...
Yeah, that's the only room that's not immediately visible to the stairs.
Yeah.
When you're coming down, except for the dining room, but if she's going through the dining room, they can't obviously be there. And they're not going to be in the basement or in the kitchen.
Right.
So I get why they were standing there, but then, they don't hear her come down. They don't try to hide. She just waltzes right past them. So I get that as a logistical issue.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, is I will give it... Yes, it's absolutely all a convenience that she isn't noticed, but I'm willing to give a caveat, I guess, that there is the possibility that Prue just happened to not be glancing in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
She was looking down, she was looking out the window, she was looking in whatever other direction for the 3 seconds it takes Phoebe to sneak through the dining room and into the kitchen. So we go back to Piper, who thinks that the only help they'd be giving is to help Phoebe kill them. But Prue says they need to keep trying, and then Phoebe yells for help from the basement. And Piper knows that it's a trap, and so does Prue. But what else can they do, right? Piper votes for not going to the basement, and Prue reminds her that Grams must have thought that this evil might come back, and that's why she told them the story. I want to know why Grams didn't write it in the Book of Shadows.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right, that would be too easy, and then we wouldn't have all this wonderful tension.
Mm-hmm. Or exposition.
Mm-hmm. We wouldn't have learned that the house was on a spiritual nexus in the middle of a pentagram.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Also, we got an explanation from the book just 2 episodes ago with the Fear Demon,
Mm-hmm.
we found Mom's handwriting in the book.
Yeah. Well, and it seems that Mom wrote that, that morning or something because it wasn't there before.
This is true.
So, whatever. Piper wants to know how they can remember the words because, she's never even believed in the Woogie Man.
And Phoebe's the only one who knows that story by heart, and she's not in the mood to share.
Yeah, and that was a funny line, too. Prue says that, they know that the source of the Woogie Man's power must be in the basement. So if they can weaken him, maybe they can weaken his hold on Phoebe, at least long enough for her to tell them the spell. And Piper's like, how? We don't know what it is, how to fight it. And then Phoebe calls for help again, and Prue and Piper walk into the kitchen holding hands.
I love when they're in danger and they hold hands. That tickles me.
So as they walk up to the basement door, we still see the picture on the wall next to it, but the light switch is now missing the switch plate for some reason. Yeah, I thought it was just weird. Like, all of a sudden, it's just gone.
Oh my god, that's stupid.
Yeah. Don't know why. Maybe that's akin to the wallpaper falling off the walls and the windows getting shattered. I don't know. But it's never mentioned. It's a thing that happens.
Oh, man. That's great.
So, Prue says that they have no choice, so they're gonna need and she trails off, and Piper says, light. And so Prue walks over to a drawer and pulls out a flashlight.
And then Piper remembers, no, in the story, there was something about
the light. Yeah.
Using it to guide you
through the shadow or to the shadow. Yeah.
Hey, maybe we're fighting a shadow.
Yeah, maybe. But Prue says, that doesn't make sense using a light to find the shadows because shadows retreat from the light and thrive in darkness.
Kind of like this.
Yeah, she says kind of like this and puts her hand up, but the entire room is bathed in light because there's sunlight coming in. So I thought
they might have been referring to the contrast because there's the pitch black doorway behind them.
Yeah, well, yeah. And Piper notices that the basement is quite dark. And that's when they realize they might be fighting a shadow, which I thought was kind of funny that it took that to notice it. But I don't know. It was just weird that she's just like this, and like the entire room is bathed in light. So, though we do see later on, when that apparently the lights had gone out as well, but whatever. So, Piper realizes they might be fighting a shadow, so Prue's like, okay, let's fight it, and she clicks on the flashlight, and they walk down the stairs, side by side, still holding hands.
Yes.
Piper calls for Phoebe, and Prue notices the shadow on the wall, and then Phoebe, who somehow now wasn't in the basement, because she's at the top of the stairs, is like, what took you so long? Where was she hiding? Was she hiding in the laundry room?
Probably.
Because it's the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah, because you can't hide under the kitchen island because it's a table.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, it's the only thing that makes sense is she was hiding in the laundry room.
There's a table with no visible gas line, so how do they have a stove up there? They have 2 ranges.
Yeah, the one in the middle. It's
a gas range.
Yeah, no, I know that. But
where's the gas line?
Underneath.
We never see anything. Like, it's legitimately a table with 4 legs. There's no solid. I never see a gas line. Granted, we've established how poorly I pay attention to this show that I didn't even notice 2 extra guests.
Yeah,
Granted, that's not entirely my fault. They were total maybe 6 frames.
Yeah, I don't know where the gas is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought it was funny that all of a sudden she's at the top of the stairs.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right though. I don't know where the gas line would be on that.
It was really weird. That was where she needed to be.
You know where they could have done the gas line?
Mm-hmm. Through a leg?
Yeah, through a leg of the table. I mean, it's literally the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that would be why the table wouldn't look like there's a gas line coming from it, is if it was coming through the leg of the table and underneath.
Yeah.
But whatever, that's speculation on
so many levels,
yeah. So Phoebe calls from the top of the stairs saying, what took you so long? Prue closes the door with her power because they can only deal with one evil at a time, which I thought was kind of funny. She then tells Piper to freeze it, and Piper tries, but it doesn't freeze. So Prue tries to use her power on it, and nothing happens.
It laughs.
Yeah, demonically. And then Phoebe, shoulder checks the door to open it.
Which would not work.
No, it wouldn't. But, she's evil now, so she's stronger, right? That's how that works. Right? Sure. Prue tells her that she has to listen to them, and Phoebe says they're in no position to tell her what to do, and she holds up the dagger, non-Athame dagger, from earlier.
She, shows it to them.
Yeah.
She kind of holds it with that Jeremy handhold.
Yes, a little bit. Prue reminds Phoebe about Grams' story, and Piper urges her to try to remember, but Phoebe has gone all scared and doesn't want to go into the basement.
no, I don't like the basement.
Yeah.
And she kind of backs up out
Yeah.
of the doorway.
The Woogie Man says that their sister is evil now, and Prue tells her to fight it, that she's good. Yeah. And that's when Phoebe, who is still holding the dagger and looking scared, touches the picture on the wall.
And we get the exact same vision as before.
Yeah, though it does last a little longer.
A little bit.
A little bit.
But not much. There's no new information gleaned from this at all.
No.
It just serves to remind Phoebe of, that time that she saw Grams defeating the Woogie.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Prue and Piper urge her to hurry, because they're being surrounded by the black smoky shadow that is the Woogie Man. Yes.
And Phoebe, kind of crouches down and sort of starts to, step down the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, okay, now you're probably hearing Chickadoodle, little Chiquita Banana, who's probably been left in her kennel because she can't be trusted to stay in the room and not destroy shit.
Yeah. Here's hoping you don't, but if you do, we apologize.
Yes.
So Phoebe slowly makes her way down the stairs, scared, and she starts reciting the spell, and little balls of light start surrounding Piper and Prue.
And I really like this spell. This spell has a nice rhyming structure, I think.
Would you like to read it? 'Cause
Sure.
I have it written down.
This is one of the spells I remembered for a very long time afterwards. But it goes, I am light, I am one too strong to fight. Go back to dark where shadows dwell. You cannot have this Halliwell. Not so. Okay, I forget the beginning part of that next bit, but...
This goes, return to dark.
Return to dark where shadows dwell. You cannot have this Halliwell.
Go away and leave my sight. Take with you this endless night. Yeah. The Woogie Man, who is not happy about this turn of events...
Because he's getting, pushed back by all of these globes of light.
Mm-hmm.
Globules.
And he gets sucked back into the crack in the floor.
Which repairs itself.
Yeah. The wallpaper finds its way back onto the walls.
There's a lovely there's a montage of all reverse destruction of what had previously happened.
Yep.
Which made it super convenient that a lot of the shots of destruction didn't actually include Phoebe when they previously filmed them, because they knew they would have to reverse it like this.
Yeah.
Because, hey, how do you avoid cleanup? This is how you avoid cleanup.
Exactly. At least for the most part for these few things. So so the wallpaper finds its way back onto the walls, the windows unshatter, and Grams' picture unburns.
Question.
And the floor of the basement returns to normal.
And then we get a nice shot, the shot through the hallway, where it looks super dark and musty, and then outside in the sound studio, the lights get turned on, so they come in streaming through the windows.
Mm-hmm.
But, okay, so when Piper and Prue are walking through the kitchen to the basement, what is the state of the kitchen?
What do you mean?
Was there flour and cooking implements everywhere? I don't think so.
I don't know.
So apparently they avoided cleanup again because either Phoebe or the Woogie Man decided this is too messy.
I don't know. Because we don't see them walk back through, and I don't remember what it was when they walked through the first time. I wasn't paying that close attention to that moment because the light switch missing the switch plate just took my attention. But I do enjoy how this scene ends. Is Phoebe sits down on the stairs, Piper comes over and holds her hands.
Mm-hmm.
And Prue sits next to her and gives her a side hug.
No.
It was cute.
Yes.
And then we're back on the university campus. Sans rain this time.
Mm-hmm.
Piper, who is now wearing dark gray pants, a light gray sweater with dark gray trim, and buttons up, and the very top button is undone.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. She knocks on the door that turns out to be Josh's office.
That I'm pretty sure is just a corner in the professor's office.
Yeah, it would make sense. Josh is wearing a thick brown sweater with line detail over a collared shirt and black pants.
A very collegiate professor look for TV.
She knocks on the door and he's like, office hours are until 5 or whatever it was. And then he looks up and is like, oh, it's you. Why are you here? Like that kind of thing. It was funny. And she's like, I just came by to see how you, Professor Whittlesey, was doing. Smooth their pipes.
Yeah, smooth.
Super smooth.
She's a smooth operator.
Mm-hmm. Peanut butter. Josh says that she seems better and mentions that she hasn't choked anybody lately. And Piper's like, that's good. And apparently, while she's back to normal, she has been censured for her behavior and has to sit before the university board, so Josh is covering her classes. And we get a cute moment of flustered Piper
saying, too bad, and then having to correct
I didn't mean you. It's like, I knew what you meant.
Yeah.
It was cute. And then he says that he has something for her, which means that he was either going to go see her later, or he was hoping she'd show up. Like, he just randomly has something for her. Okay, fine. And it turns out to be a bottle of 1993 Clara Jensen.
Oh, yes.
Uh-huh. And he jokes that battles have been waged over this wine. And Piper replies, "Not today, I'm too tired." It was cute. It was very funny. And she says that it's actually very nice. And he tells her not to sound so surprised because he is capable of a kind act or two. She says, "That's good to know," smiles, and walks away. And then we get a last shot of Josh smiling as she walks away.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that unbuttoned button.
Yeah. But I just thought it was very funny because she literally walked in, asked how the professor was doing, and then leaves.
Yeah.
No other convo, no nothing. We cut to the attic at the manor that evening, and the girls are all cleaning up. Piper is now in her gray sweatpants, a blue baseball-style top, and what looks like Adidas shoes. It's like white with the 3 black strips. Mm-hmm. Phoebe is in jeans, a pink V-neck top, and her little Adidas-looking slippers. And Prue is in a gray top and black pants.
Mm-hmm.
Prue tells them that Andy is only getting a 2-week suspension, which Piper doesn't think is fair because
he wasn't really at fault.
Yeah, it wasn't his fault. But Prue says, what was he going to do? Plead shadowed? Which I thought was a very funny line. And Piper says that everyone seems to be back to normal, but that doesn't erase their actions. And Prue wishes that it did so she could get off Claire's bad side. But she then says that she isn't even sure if Claire has a good one.
Not unless you have shit tons of money.
Mm-hmm. Which makes Phoebe begin to wonder if she has a good one. And Prue and Piper just stare at her.
Yeah, they're not really quite sure what to say to that.
Right.
Because it's an awkward thing to have someone you're close to say that they think they're a horrible person. Like, how do you contradict that?
Yeah, like how, where...
Other than to say, oh my god, no, you're not. Like,
yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. She says that, she didn't even think she had a dark side, until today. But Prue reminds her that the important thing is that the good side won out. And Phoebe says that, she must have been more susceptible... That's a hard word to say. Susceptible than either of them, or he wouldn't have chosen her, which gets complete silence.
Yeah.
Which she takes as agreement. And Piper says that because she was the only one that was born in the house, that makes her more connected to it. And, reminds her of that spiritual nexus thing, which I thought was very funny.
The thingy. And so this is when we learned that Phoebe was born in the house, which, is an interesting tidbit. Yeah.
And Phoebe says that, that's exactly her point, that she could go either way, good or evil. But she does know that she's going to miss that new power, because it was fun. And Piper and Prue both realize that if Grams put away the shadow and it came back, then that means it can come back again. Prue says that every witch before them has added to the Book of Shadows, so it's their turn to warn generations to come. Phoebe, of course, asks who should do it.
And Prue grabs a pen, looks at Piper, and then turns around and points the pen at Phoebe and wrinkles her nose.
Yes, it's adorable. And I also love that Piper, isn't even paying attention. She goes, well, I know it's going to Phoebe. I don't even have to look. Yeah. It was very funny.
And Phoebe comes around and grabs the pen, and they're all doing
she has an adorable little nose wrinkle of her own and a smile.
Yeah.
And they find a blank page. It's somewhere in the middle of the book.
Yeah, kind of toward the back. But, we can't really see where, because as Phoebe's walking over and they're handing over the pen, the camera's zooming out.
Yeah, it's panning
slows
back.
Zoom out, and then she starts writing, and then it pans to black.
Yep. End credits.
Yay.
Yay.
Another episode done.
Yay.
Time for the ratings.
Time for the ratings.
Yeah. I don't want to copyright the Weasel song. Are you kidding me?
The Weasel song?
Pop Goes the Weasel? I don't want to infringe on copyright, Kat. Don't make me.
Says the woman that played Careless Whisper. Just saying. I just wasn't expecting... Pop Goes the Weasel. Okay, wasn't expecting that.
Well, I wasn't doing that tune.
Yeah.
I was doing the rhythm, not the tune. Because I don't want to infringe copyright.
Mm-hmm. Anyway. So, are you going first or am I going first?
I think I'll go first, because I went first the last couple times.
Okay, your rating is?
My rating is 8 out of 10 culinary pachyderms.
I love it.
And yours might be?
Mine is 7 out of 10 accidentally exposed nipples.
Yep.
Because, come on.
Yeah.
Outfits.
I really want the sweater Piper has, but that's not my favorite outfit.
Which sweater? The one she wears to Josh's office? With
The one she's wearing,
undone?
like, basically the entire show.
Oh, okay. Because I like the one that she wore to Josh's office with the one button undone.
It was cute.
Yeah.
And it kind of looked like it just accidentally came undone, and no one was like, yeah, you should button that back up.
Yeah. Well, like I said, they had a little, like, mini flirty
Yeah.
kind of thing happening. Not like a real flirt, but like...
Yeah. I'm gonna go favorite outfit as being Professor Whittlesey's outfit, like the blue.
Which one? She had 2 blue outfits.
The beginning.
The one at the beginning? With
Yeah.
the... Okay. Not the silk one that she wore at the dinner party?
No, I like the one at the beginning. I
Okay.
like that color blue.
Well, yes, I love that color blue. My hair is basically that color blue.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. For me, as we know, I like, everyone's outfits. I actually like the outfit that Prue had at the beginning, the little brown sweater set thing. I kind of liked that a lot. And with Phoebe, I mean, it's got to be the red dress.
That was cool.
No contest, got to be the red dress. But I will be honest, I really liked the purplish slate gray, like whatever, the color changing outfit.
Yeah. I
I really enjoyed that. Like, that top was totally something I would have worn.
Mm-hmm. Piper's baseball tee was also nice.
Yeah, it was kind of cute. But yeah, for Phoebe, it's got to be the red dress. No contest. I mean, it was just the cutest one.
Yeah.
It was the greatest. But that's it.
Mm-hmm.
We're done for another week.
Yeah. So it's be time for the plugs now.
Yeah. Social media stuff.
We are at Charm Chats Pod on Twitter and Tumblr. We are at Charm Chats on pretty much everything else,
Facebook,
including
Instagram,
Gmail.
Yep.
So if you want to email us, that's charmchats@gmail.com.
Absolutely.
We love getting emails. We have an Instagram. We have a Pinterest. We have... What else do we have? Oh, Snapchat. We love our Snapchat.
Yes. We usually only Snapchat on Sundays. It's usually just Blue.
Yeah.
And there's usually Instagram of Blue on Sundays as well.
Yeah.
So.
You'll get lots of that shit.
Yeah. And last but not least, Patreon.
Yes. Our beloved Patreon.
/CharmChats.
We would definitely appreciate anyone who enjoys this
lovely podcast that we're doing.
Show of ours.
Yeah.
And the show we cover in our show.
Yeah.
If they appreciated it enough and would like to help us continue on doing this because, and it's not free for us to do. We don't really want to turn a profit or anything.
No, we're not trying to turn a profit at all. Like, I think that's the biggest thing that I want to say. We're not trying to turn a profit at all.
Mm-hmm.
We literally just are asking if you like our show, and I know that like 90% of people who listen to our show listen on iTunes.
Mm-hmm.
If you would like to help us keep the show on iTunes, consider becoming a Patreon patron. Because if we can get money to get more bandwidth, we can keep the podcast up on iTunes.
Which would be lovely.
Because otherwise, we don't know how we're gonna keep it on iTunes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we don't want to have to start charging for episodes.
Because that means no one will fucking listen to them.
Yeah, and I know that, we have the episodes up for free on the website, but that's hard. Like, it's hard to download it. Like, you can't really download it from the website. You'd have to kind of listen to it from the website. And so I understand that that's hard. I get it. But having it up on iTunes is not free.
No, it is not.
So if you have the means, we're just asking.
To help make it a little bit easier for us. To be able to give you the thing that you are enjoying.
Exactly. Because we don't have a network partnership. We don't have sponsors,
Certainly not Soundhound.
Yeah, exactly. We have no sponsors. And to be completely honest, I don't really want sponsors, necessarily. So, we're only slightly begging.
Only slightly.
Only slightly. But that's us. Done for another week.
Mm-hmm.
So, until next week.
Sleep tight and don't let the warlocks bite.
Bye.
Phoebe, Piper, and Prue, we've got evil to say and some potions to brew. So we'll see where it's at next week with Kendra and Kat on Charm Chats.
It's me, the culinary pachyderm.